All right, all right, all right. There we go. Now I'm not muted. Um, Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Welcome back to the True Crime Cafe. I am the Dago. For those of you that don't know, which you all know, thank you guys for joining me tonight for the next episode of the series I run. I call it the Midnight Series. It is the true story behind the movie and the series, the story behind the Texas killing fields. What a crazy story, folks. It is absolutely insane. Good to see you all. You guys have to excuse me tonight. I think I am picking something up. So I think that's what was wrong with me earlier today. Um, Good to see you. Let's go. So, gotta get through this and hope we can get better. Great name, actually. Good to see you, Kelly. Wisdom speaks. Miss Sherry's in the house. Let's go. Rowdy, Mrs. M. Great to have you here. Cece, the sweetest lady on the internet. So great to see you. Miss Pamela, good to have you here. Danielle, welcome back. Miss Sherry's in the house. Good to see you, my brother Mikey. So great to have you here, brother. Let me see. Sunshine's in the house. Always happy to have you here. Let me see. My sister's in the house. What's up, little sis? Good to see you, Heather. Thanks for joining us tonight, hon. Yep. I think I got everybody. Yeah, my sister likes these nighttime ones we do where we cover the true stories on stuff. She's been enjoying them. Miss Daisy Dead's in the house. Good to have you here. Love you too, sis. Thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate you. Bonnie Bailey, good to have you. Miss Kelly, good to see you. Always happy to have you guys here for these. We may not be doing a whole lot of talking tonight, but I will get us through it. Mrs. M is always so kind. That she is. There's Brandy, the OG. Good to see you, Miss Brandy. Thanks for joining us. Oh, the meatballs are in the house. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Susan Lupo, thanks for joining us. Salty, good to see you. Come on in, guys. Grab your coffee, tea, whatever it may be. Come on in, sit down and have a conversation with me. Miss Margaret Oprah, good to see you. Grab some popcorn, folks. Hopefully, you are here to enjoy yourselves because we're going to. Again, if I didn't see you guys this morning or this afternoon, I should see, and you joined us last night, thank you so much for that as well. I appreciate you guys. And there's Mama Bear in the chat too. Just seen her popped up. Thank you for joining us, Mama Bear. First nighttime. Well, welcome, Margaret. I hope you enjoy it. Miss Carrie Pristula. Yesterday was fun. Good. I'm glad. I hope you guys did enjoy that. Like I said, every now and again, it's always nice to take a little break from the monotony of the horrible, sad, depressing true crime world, folks, because we do it so often, so much. We got to get away from it every now and again. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Let's see. Anybody else? Not yet. Come on in, everybody. Grab a seat, get comfortable. Please, please, if you would. Miss Sherry, good to see you. Thank you, Miss Brandy. Let me pin that up here again. Any of our new members, if you do happen to want to join the Discord, which is a exclusive perk just for the members there, get a hold of Miss Brandy there. In that message, you'll see it. Email her. She will get you set up in the Discord. Thank you so much again, Miss Brandy. So again, tonight, folks, we're covering the true story behind the Texas killing fields. Tell you what, folks, there's a lot with this one too. It's pretty crazy. All right. I don't know if any of you guys caught the movie or the. There's a series on Netflix too. Pretty interesting. Either way, we watched the movie again this morning, and I'm gonna catch the series just because I want to. It looks pretty interesting. Check it out if you can't. Or I'm sorry, check it out if you can. It's definitely worth watching. The movie was, I should say, at least. And the series looks pretty interesting. Yeah, okay. Mikey's in the house. 31 people watching, guys. Please hit the like button on your way in the door if you would. Leave me a little DNA there. Share this out to anybody you think would be interested to see this. And please, if you can, leave me a comment after the show. Let me know what you think, good or bad. I don't mind. And again, guys, thanks for joining me earlier this afternoon. That always helps out as we work through this crazy University of Idaho case. Oh, yeah. Come on in, grab a seat, get comfortable. Again, it's great to have y'all here tonight. We got 35 awesome people in here. 16 likes. Let's try to make that match tonight, folks, if we can. I'm not too worried about hitting that algorithm, but they still like to see those likes to keep it flowing, everyone. They really do. I hear you, Stewie. As soon as I get on here, he's meowing away, trying to get my attention. Yeah, I know. But if you guys happen to see any ads, by the way, give me a yell. Say, hey, I caught one. Dago. Meow. Yeah, that's what he does all day long, Miss Sherry. Meow. He don't bother with me unless I'm talking to somebody else. If I'm on the phone, bing, bang, boom, there he is in my ear. Meow, meow, meow. As soon as I get on here, he's meowing for me again. It's kind of crazy. Miss Brandy, good to see you again tonight, hon. Miss Heather's in the house. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us tonight, Heather. I appreciate you. I got you, Margaret. No worries. It got a little warm. I get it. Welcome, Angela. Good to have you. So my boyfriend tried to tell me to watch the documentary on Netflix. I tried, but it started out so slow. I've fallen asleep. You'd probably be better off to watch the movie because it compacts all that in and you'll get it. Let me see here. Okay. Let me give you guys a quick glimpse on the trailer for the movie. Give you a little, give you a little understanding of what we're going to be talking about. For those of you that may not have seen it, great to have you here tonight, Angela. Thank you for joining us again. Appreciate you. Mama Bear says total members. We have 310 members, folks. And that's with recurring memberships. 79 members with a limited time membership total. Gifted 231. That is absolute insanity. Awesome. And I am so proud to have you guys in this family. All these meatballs. Absolutely insane. You guys are great. It is so great to have you guys here floating around in the sauce with the rest of us. My ex used to call me that. Hey, to you too. That's better than calling you head. For whatever reason, my autocorrect on my phone, every time I try to talk to Heather, folks, it was for the longest time was calling her head. I'd be like, hey, head, what's up? Yeah, great, right? Yeah. It's insane. All right, guys, let's listen to this and watch this trailer here real quick before we get rolling, and we'll move from there. Right.
Hey, Brad, this is Pam. We got a girl gone missing over here. We just located the car. It's in the fields.
If she is in the fields, she is as good as gone.
Brian, Texas City Police Department. We got a homicide of our own over here.
One more big girl.
Blonde.
Dark hair.
This is us. Texas City. Fields. It's not our jurisdiction.
All along those bayous, our local people won't go in there. It's infected or something.
Hey, princess!
Get in.
Can't you just go home and watch TV like other kids?
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions.
See this girl? Which one of you found the hand?
You wouldn't mind telling me about the guy with the green Pontiac?
Why would he kill her after he murdered somebody cut into him?
I'd assume to send a message.
911, what is your emergency?
A man in my house.
These are other body recovery sites. This is where the phone call to us originated from.
Brian, over here.
Let's go! Come on, get in here!
What if I can't stop this one either?
We'll be waiting for you. Mike, they snatched the land.
Don't do nothing stupid! 07 in pursuit, green Pontiac! Aaron! Aaron!
You don't know how close to the edge you are.
I know exactly where I am.
There it is. Thank you so much, Miss Heather. I was getting ready to throw that banner up. This does have some sensitive materials, violence as well, definitely. If it is not something you guys may not be comfortable with, please feel free to step away at any time. You will not be judged nor looked down upon. That's perfectly understandable. But if you can handle it and you're okay with it, here we are. Yeah, I got, thank you, Mama Bear. I see that. It's a great movie. And of course, it's, you know, for those of you that are Walking Dead fans, you saw him in there. He's in everything. It's a great movie, guys. My wife and I watched it this morning. I was impressed. It's really interesting. And understand something, folks. It is still unsolved, honestly, to be honest with you. So many people in such little time. It's kind of insane. It really is. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. 1 second. Now, this is the trailer from the Netflix series. I wanted to give you guys both. Sorry. That way you can take it. Well, you can watch both. I would recommend the movie for sure. And then if you're, you know, the movie was good to you, if you thought it was good, or you know, after you hear the story tonight, check this out too. And Go for it, because I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna watch it. My sister and I, the other Heather in here, not the moderator Heather, we go back and forth on phone calls talking about the different series and stuff that we like to watch. And we both have the same taste in movies and like TV series and stuff. My sister would probably be very good at this too. We've both always been into true crime and mystery and horror and all that fun stuff. You know what I mean? So here's another one, Heather, that you might want to check out, because I know I'm gonna be doing it, sis. So, all right, here's the trailer for this one, folks, and then we'll get to moving on this. And there it is. Marley Kate 21, welcome. She says, hello, this is so scary to me because I grew up in League City where we were teenagers without a care in the world. And it's sad. You know, a lot of us lived our lives like that. And these things happen everywhere, guys. They really do. And here's the thing, folks. Based on my research and what I found as I'm looking into this, my wife actually helped research this with me. Brandy she's a great investigator. She's very good at this stuff. She's always the one that figures the movies out in the very beginning. As soon as we'll start watching a good one, she's like, oh, I got it, and I'm like, what? She's good at that. So my opinion on this, that there's multiple serial killers, and I'm telling you, multiple. When you see how many people have lost their lives that have been found in the fields, folks, it's insane. And there's people that have been wrongfully accused of unaliving other people that other people are still walking free for, or we're still walking free for. It's insane, folks. This is a mess, a huge mess. And like I said, in some senses, a lot of it is still unsolved. And it's, there's been talk with people there that live in that area that's saying that it still goes on. So thank you so much, Ms. Heather. Again, folks, this is a fully 100% crowdfunded channel. And what that means is that, it's all based on donations. That's what keeps me running from all you guys, keeps the bills paid so I can come out here on a daily basis to hang out and do all this stuff with you guys. There are the links for the PayPal, the Cash App, and the Venmo, and I do appreciate you so very much for doing that ahead of time. For those of you that have donated to keep us running, it's very much appreciated, guys, from the heart. Welcome, Tamara Brown. It's not a new movie. We're telling the true story behind the movie. The movie itself was released in 2011, and the Netflix series dropped in November. Welcome, though, Tamara. Good to have you here. And this started back in 1970, folks. How about that? East Texas. Yeah, and Texas, this stuff was all around Texas that these things were happening, and a lot of times it all ended up going back to the fields, folks. It's crazy. As you'll see. That's it right there, Marley. That is the road, folks. Calder Road. Calder Road is basically right, boom, boom, right where the fields are. Marley says we went to this place on Calder Road to water ski. See, you were right in the midst of it, Marley. BBY, what's happening? Bow, bow, bow. Good to see you. Or your better half, Becca. It's Becca, sorry. I didn't know if it was Becca or BBY. Either way, if it's you or one of you or both of you, thanks for joining us tonight. Good to see you. All right, folks, let me see here. Let's get this show on the road. By the way, for those of you that were here this afternoon, I had somebody did get in contact with Rory from, just to give you guys a heads up, from Thou Shalt Not Kill True Crime. He is going to be getting a hold of me. He's been a little bit busy. He's been getting hammered left and right because he's been putting videos up. So he's getting people, talking to him. He's been very busy. So as soon as he can get a moment, he's going to message me and I will give him a call and we're going to have a talk. I'm going to see if he wants to jump out here and talk to us, come on the panel, respectfully. I'd like to let him know how much I respect what he's doing, so on and so forth. So we'd love to have a conversation. So I'm waiting to get a hold of, or have him get a hold of me, and then we'll be doing that here soon. By the way, Heather, I have not heard from Amy as of yet. So I don't know if you want to maybe send her another message and make sure she has the right number or something. I don't know. Maybe she's just busy. Who knows? It's okay. It's up to you if you want to, hon. Welcome, Miss Tiffany. It's great to have you here. God bless you. Good to see you. 38 awesome people tuning in right now. Thank you so very much. Please like, subscribe, share this out. Hit that notification bell if you would. That way you don't miss a thing we do, guys. Thank you, Miss Heather. I appreciate that, sis. Like I said, just in case you may have the wrong number, or it may have popped up that I missed her call. I do have horrible service out here, so let her know that as well. I live in West Fort Worth now. I still have siblings that live in League City. There are 42 people in here. Now I could probably get this kicked off here. I really do appreciate that, Heather. Thank you very much, hon. As I had explained to some of you guys, I don't know if you remember this or not, what I'm talking about, so that you guys aren't lost. We did the same thing we're doing right now a month or so back about the movie called The Good Nurse, which was about a male nurse that had gotten a job at a hospital in the area that they were living in, and he had actually bounced around to a few hospitals, and he made very close friends with a female nurse that works there by the name of Amy. They got very close. And Amy had started noticing that patients were dying off that shouldn't have been, that didn't have things wrong with them. And, she's kind of put two and two together, spoke with some people that she knew that worked at other hospitals in that area. And it was brought up that they believe that this nurse had been doing things he shouldn't be doing. I don't want to tell you the whole movie, but it ended up that he was unaliving people, giving them injections of insulin when they don't need it, things this and that, so on and so forth. And she kind of rolled on him doing the right thing. But she hooked up with the local law enforcement, I believe eventually with the FBI, and they kind of did a sting operation. She got wired up, went in, she turned him in, as much as it was hard for her to do that because of how close they were, and so on and so forth. And so anyway, long story short, the good nurse, as she was called, Amy, caught the story I told about that, and said that she was very interested in possibly having a conversation, coming on here and doing an interview with us. So I'm really excited about that, to bring that to you guys as well. So sorry that took me so long to explain. My wife was talking to somebody upstairs and it was really echoing down through here, so I was trying to make sure you guys weren't picking up all that noise. Excuse me. All right, guys. Let's see what we got here. 1 second. All right. Again, guys, let me know how the audio works for this. If there's any issues, please. All right. Make sure you got subtitles just in case you can't hear.
Than any paranormal activity because they are the result of something that we know is real and that is visible all around us, the horrors that live inside of us and the grotesqueness that lurks coiling within human hearts. These locations are perhaps more frightening than any paranormal activity.
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I thought I had it set at the right spot. My apologies. Hold on a minute. Well, you're not missing anything from that point, so we'll move forward. Sorry.
We know is real and that is visible all around us, the horrors that live inside of us and the grotesqueness that our species is capable of. A location that unquestionably bears the stain of such human wretchedness lies out over rocky scrubland, hidden from view of an interstate among abandoned oil fields and wasteland. Over the years, the dead have started to show up here, sprawled across the park's ground, their glazed eyes holding the memories of their gruesome final moments on Earth. Even though it is an isolated area of nothingness, it has managed to draw in body after body, leading to one of the world's largest collections of puzzling unsolved murders. This is the dreadful Texas Killing Fields. A remote, uninhabited area of land measuring about 40 kilometers, 25 miles, in length and characterized by abandoned oil fields, marshes, and dense, nearly impenetrable tangles of overgrown brush is situated about a mile off Interstate 45, bordering the Calder oil field in League City, between Galveston and Houston. That this particular section of the interstate is frequently referred to as the Highway of Hell due to the excessive number of traffic accidents that occur here makes the foreboding landscape all the more menacing. However, despite its sinister reputation for traffic accidents and eerie, desolate atmosphere, there isn't much to set this dusty area apart from the many other similarly remote locations in the region's arid, monotonous landscape. One could easily drive by without giving it a second thought. But this isolated region has a sinister secret that really makes it stand out as a place to make you shiver. Since the 1970s, over 30 girls and young women's bodies have been discovered here, with the majority of these murders still unsolved, many of the bodies not even properly identified, and even more who have mysteriously vanished in the area never to be seen again. It is simple to understand how this desolate place came to be known as the Killing Fields, which is a name that is well deserved. When 13-year-old Colette Wilson disappeared after being dropped off at a bus stop following her school band practice in June 19, 1971, the gruesome reputation of this notorious graveyard of corpses officially began. She was found dead from a single gunshot wound to the head in what would become known as the Killing Fields, close to Addicts Reservoir, although at the time it was treated as a missing persons case. Her body was discovered 5 months after it was reported as a missing person. Brenda Jones, 14, vanished on July 1, 1971, just a few weeks after Colette went missing. She was en route to the nearby Galveston General Hospital to visit a sick relative. She died from a head wound as well, and her body was later discovered floating in Galveston Bay. Through 1971, the killings in the area persisted unabatedly. Gloria Gonzalez, then 19 years old, appeared to simply disappear off the face of the earth on October 28, 1971, as she was walking close to her Houston home. Later, her body would be discovered not 35 yards from where Colette Wilson's body had been found. In the months that followed, Allison Craven, 12, Debbie Ackerman, 15, and her friend Maria Johnson, also 15, would all be discovered, all of them shot in the head and bound by their hands and feet. Up until a total of 11 teenage and adolescent girls were dead and unceremoniously dumped here, the horrific killings persisted throughout the 1970s. Since the victims were all similar in appearance, many of them were discovered near or in bodies of water, and many of them had their hands and feet bound. Investigators at the time believed that the killings were all the work of a single serial killer. These cases would prove to be a nightmare to investigate because the region only had a few dispersed small towns, their police didn't freely exchange information or compare notes, and there wasn't much evidence left behind in the first place. The 11 murders from the 1970s would largely go unsolved, with only one shaky conviction in connection with them, a Michael Lloyd Self, who was thought to have killed a girl named Sharon Shaw in 197-1, but whom many have long thought may not have actually done it based on thin evidence. Years later, in 1996, a man by the name of Edward Harold Bell, who was then serving time for a different murder, would write to the police and claim that he had killed 11 girls in Galveston County in the 1970s, including Colette Wilson, but there would never be enough convincing evidence to directly connect him to the crimes. Bell was famous for his strange assertion that he had been subjected to a covert government brainwashing program that had given him the desire to kill. A lot of people go missing in the killing fields and are never found, presumably murdered, so there are definitely a lot of disappearances there. The mysterious disappearance of 17-year-old Jessica Kane on August 17, 1997, is one of the most well-known of these cases. Despite a thorough investigation, Jessica was never found despite her...
And that is something, I'm glad you said that, Marley. We're going to talk about that, you guys. We've been talking about corrupted police, right? Wait till you hear this. When me and Brandy, my wife, were researching this today. Wow. I mean, wow. You'll see. It's crazy, the things that we don't think go on, because we don't want to believe these things, folks. We want to believe that our police departments are here to protect and serve. Okay? That's what they're supposed to do. We're supposed to be able to We're supposed to be able to trust and feel comfortable with our law enforcement officials. Okay? And I've seen more and more and more as we've gotten into the cases we've been covering, as do my moderators. They see it too. And a lot of you guys, of course, too, because my moderators and I work together in researching a lot of this stuff. And we've been coming up with it more and more again, the corruption in some of these law enforcement organizations all throughout. And a lot of it is based out of small towns, boroughs, villages. It's kind of crazy, guys. It really is. And it's sad because, again, we want to be able to trust these people to protect us. And anymore, it's scary because, as you'll see with this and with these other cases we have been working on, it doesn't seem that we can, guys. Sorry.
Abandoned pickup truck being discovered by I-45. Her ultimate fate is still a mystery to this day, adding to the list of unanswered questions surrounding the killing fields, despite the fact that there is a strong suspicion that she was killed because of other
Welcome, Sweet and Salty.
Similar cases. In fact, 12-year-old Laura Smither also vanished while out for a jog just 2 weeks prior to Jessica's disappearance. A father and son walking their dogs near Friendswood, south of Houston, discovered her decomposing, largely naked, and decapitated body 17 days later by a pond. The disappearance of 13-year-old Crystal Baker from the town of Texas City in March of the previous year, 1996, was another prominent case. Crystal, whose great-aunt was none other than the well-known actress Marilyn Monroe, got into an argument with her grandmother and stormed off in a rage. Later, while speaking to her mother on the phone from a convenience store, she would make her final appearance. Crystal was initially handled as a runaway case. However, later that evening, her body, which had been brutally beaten, raped, and strangled to death, turned up under an interstate bridge. Unbelievably, it would take 2 weeks before Crystal's body, which had been brutalized, was recognized. It is likely that Jessica Kane was also murdered given the other killings that took place in the neighborhood at the time over such a short period of time and involved similarly aged girls with similar appearances. Many of the murders and disappearances in the killing fields have been plagued by this frustration for a very long time. It's the ideal location to dispose of a body in many ways. The majority of bodies may not be discovered for years, if they are discovered at all, due to the area's isolation and lack of tourists. In this vast wasteland, there is no one for victims to call for assistance. Furthermore, even if the bodies are discovered, the harsh, hot weather, humidity, scavengers, and insects all quickly get to work on the dead bodies left here, making it extremely challenging, if not impossible, to recover any useful evidence from them. Because there are so many potential attackers, including serial killers, transients, migrant workers, truck drivers, and others who are just passing through, it is difficult to compile a list of suspects. Unsettlingly, there are also a lot of paroled sexual predators in the area. In fact, a police investigation revealed a list of 2,100 such released criminals residing near the killing fields. It becomes even more difficult for investigators to narrow down the list of potential suspects when you consider that Texas leads the nation in the number of unsolved highway homicides. Anyone could do it. Even if these are the work of one or several murderers, it cannot be determined. The victims themselves are frequently troubled young women who are initially quickly dismissed as runaway cases, further creating a window of missed opportunities where something could have been done. The killings and disappearances in the area would continue up until the 2000s, with the murder of 23-year-old Sarah Trusty on July 12, 2002, and the murder of Todd Harriman, 57, on July 12, 2001, as well as the disappearances of Teresa Venegas, 16, and Todd Harriman, 57, on October 31, 2006, and Todd Harriman, 16, on October 31st. Despite the fact that there haven't been any more murders or disappearances since then, this isn't much comfort because so few of the numerous murders and disappearances that have happened here have ever been solved. The murder of Crystal Baker, which took place 16 years ago, resulted in the only solid conviction ever obtained in relation to the killing Fields, which occurred in 2012. The turning point in this case occurred
Thanks
in
for joining us,
2009,
Kendra.
when Chambers County's evidence officer Sherry Wilcox had Crystal's dress resubmitted as evidence in order to put it through more recent DNA testing procedures to see what would come up. It was effective.
Stop talking about corrupt police. It ain't all of them, just like all the people here that are accusing people everything imaginable they're accusing. Okay. I'm going to say this like this, okay? There are police that admitted to being corrupt in this case, Alien. That's why I'm talking about it here. I haven't said it about anybody else. I said we've seen other cases we've covered where police are corrupt. Okay. This case has police officers, a chief and an officer that were charged, convicted, and put in prison for corruption based on this case here right now. And then the department they worked for came out to the public stating that they were completely corrupt in certain senses, abusive, and things like that. Okay. So that is, and there's proof of it. Okay. And it's in this story right here, as well as I'll read to you. So that's why I'm speaking on it, Alien. Okay. Finish what you said. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean, finish what you said. Good to see you, OCD. And it's not, I didn't say it was all of them. I've never said that. Okay? Not once have I ever said that. And I wouldn't say that because I know it's not. So for you to say stop talking about corrupt police, I'm not going to talk about it if it's not corrupt. If you understand what I'm saying, you only read part of it. I read the whole thing. I'll read it again. Stop talking about corrupt police. It ain't all of them. I know that. Just like all the people here that are accusing people of everything imaginable. That's not true either. They are accusing innocent people of horrible crimes without any proof. And that's not true either, because I tell everybody in here that comes in here, including I do this myself, that we can't accuse people of things unless we have solid proof of it. So again, we don't do that in this channel. Okay. People are entitled to their opinions, their theories, and their thoughts on how they feel about something. That's the right to being a human being. So, you know, that's up to everybody, but I don't vocalize who I think is guilty of something in here unless I have proof of it. So that's all I'm saying. Just like you are, you know, entitled to your thoughts, your opinions, and your theories on things too. Thank you for your comment.
A man named Kevin Edison Smith was arrested on unrelated drug charges after a DNA match was made, and when he was questioned about the murder, he confessed. He was given a life sentence in prison in 2012 for the murder of Crystal Baker, which represents the lone instance in which DNA evidence used to investigate a killing Fields case has produced a conclusive resolution. In fact, aside from this incident, there has only been flimsy evidence, false leads, false confessions, cold trails, tips that have led to dead ends, and suspects without enough proof to press charges. Authorities are hopeful that these cutting-edge DNA testing methods will help them crack some of the other puzzling cases, but the evidence is scant and the leads have gotten very cold over time. In the absence of any new information, there seems to be a very good chance that the majority of the killing Fields murders and disappearances will remain unsolved for a long time. The families of the many victims have been deprived of any closure for decades, frequently in the case of those who simply disappeared without their loved ones even knowing what happened to them. It is unfortunate because not only
That's a fact. Pamela, thank you for that. By the way, Pamela's a retired police officer, folks. She's part of the team here. She helps us with a lot of our work over in the UK. because that's where she's at right now. So thank you for that comment, Pamela. And of course, we love you so very much. Appreciate you. Welcome, Miss Molly. Good golly, great to see you. As always, hon. Thanks for joining us. And Pamela, again, thank you very much for that.
Only can we now be certain that some predator is not still out there stalking the I-45 waiting to strike again, instilling fear in those who wonder if the child is next, but also because the I-45 has been a target for many years. The brutally murdered bodies of 12-year-old Brooks Bracewell and her friend, 14-year-old Georgia Gear, who had both vanished while visiting a nearby convenience store, were found in the 1980s, ushering in a new decade of atrocities connected to the killing fields. Another murder connected to a convenience store occurred when 23-year-old Heed Alfay vanished on October 10, 1983, after using...
Sorry to interrupt. Absolutely, Marley. That's what I was getting at. My wife and I both found it's really horrible how this was handled. It's disgusting, and it disgusted me. This poor man had to deal with this. So you guys, it's sad. So 100%, Marley. I absolutely agree.
The payphone there. Her body was found when a dog discovered the rotting body and carried the skull to a nearby house, where it was left at the feet of a young child.
Yes, Molly.
Throughout the 1980s, there would be a number of additional homicides and unexplained disappearances, with the victims dying either from gunshots, strangulations, or brutal beatings. One of the most well-known murders associated with the killing fields of this time period involved 16-year-old Laura Miller, who went missing on September 10, 1984, also in front of a convenience store after making a call home, eerily the same convenience store from which Heed Alfay had gone missing, and whose body would be found on February 3, 1986, in a remote oil field. Tim Miller, Laura's father, would embark on a personal, vengeance-fueled mission to find his daughter's killer as a result of this murder. Tim Miller became frustrated with the lack of progress made by police and the fact that information sharing between jurisdictions continues to be a significant barrier to solving the cases. He was also told at first by law enforcement officials that it was a straightforward runaway case. Tim Miller then turned his attention to Robert Abel, a brilliant retired NASA engineer who had worked on the Saturn rocket. In addition to beginning Stardust Trail Reads, a small horseback riding operation, Abel had been renting land in the vicinity of the spot where Laura's body had been discovered. At the time, Abel was a quiet man in his 60s who took medication for high blood pressure and had a bad back. Conversations with family members and neighbors raised Miller's suspicions about him because they revealed that he had a dark, violent side and was frequently violent toward women and even his own horses with an iron pipe. Abel was harassed, followed, and in some ways stalked by Miller after he became convinced that Abel was his daughter's killer. Miller even
absolutely welcome, Marianne,
to investigate the case. Detectives and the FBI were able to profile Abel as a serial sexual offender, with many additional characteristics frequently found in serial killers, and before long, word spread and Abel began to receive unfavorable treatment in the community. At one point, hundreds of people, including Tim Miller, descended upon Abel's property in search of dead bodies they believed had been buried there. People were avoiding him at all costs, crossing the street to avoid him, and some would drive by him shouting, "Killer! You're the killer!" They came up empty-handed. Abel was never charged with a crime, despite Miller's complete conviction that he was the murderer. Despite extensive questioning of Abel and witnesses, as well as thorough searches of the man's home for any sign of the murder, neither the police nor the FBI were ever able to connect Abel to Laura Miller's death. Abel received an apology from Miller at one point for essentially ruining his life as he gradually lost interest in pursuing him as a suspect. Abel's life was likely taken by suicide in July 2005 when he drove his golf cart onto a train track as it was about to pass. Although nothing concrete would ever come of this, Miller would go on to conclude that a Clyde Edwin Hedrick, who was already in jail for manslaughter in another case, was the real killer. Tim Miller established the custom of placing crosses to mark the locations where the bodies of the unidentified killer were discovered, including that of Heidi Alfay, who vanished while hitchhiking to see her boyfriend in Houston before turning up dead in the fields. Two of the crosses marked the final resting places of two victims who were never even given names. They simply read Jane Doe and Janet Doe. In order to try and find missing people, he even went so far as to launch his own missing person search organization, Texas EquiSearch, which employs searchers on horseback, in vehicles, and even in helicopters. The brutally murdered bodies of 12-year-old Brooks Bracewell and her friend, 14-year-old Georgia Gear, who had both vanished while visiting a nearby convenience store, were found in the 1980s, ushering in a new decade of atrocities connected to the killing fields. Another murder connected to a convenience store occurred when 23-year-old Heed Alfay vanished on October 10, 1983, after using the payphone there. Her body was found when a dog discovered the rotting body and carried the skull to a nearby house, where it was left at the feet of a young child. Throughout the 1980s, there would be a number of additional homicides and unexplained disappearances, with the victims dying either from gunshots, strangulations, or brutal beatings. One of the most well-known murders associated with the killing fields of this time period involved 16-year-old Laura Miller, who went missing on September 10, 1984, also in front of a convenience store after making a call home, eerily the same convenience store from which Villarreal had gone missing, and whose body would be found on February 3, 1986, in a remote oil field. Tim Miller, Laura's father, would embark on a personal, vengeance-fueled mission to find his daughter's killer as a result of this murder. Tim Miller became frustrated with the lack of progress made by police and the fact that information sharing between jurisdictions continues to be a significant barrier to solving the cases. He was also told at first by law enforcement officials that it was a straightforward runaway case. Tim Miller then turned his attention to Robert Abel, a brilliant retired NASA engineer who had worked on the Saturn rocket. In addition to beginning Stardust Trail Reads, a small horseback riding operation, Abel had been renting land in the vicinity of the spot where Laura's body had been discovered. At the time, Abel was a quiet man in his 60s who took medication for high blood pressure and had a bad back. Conversations with family members and neighbors raised Miller's suspicions about him because they revealed that he had a dark...
I'm sorry, folks. I must have jumped this back or something. I didn't mean to. My apologies, because it's repeating it. I hear it again. So my apologies, folks.
Violent side and was frequently violent toward women and even his own horses with an iron pipe. Abel was harassed, followed, and in some ways stalked by Miller after he became convinced that Abel was his daughter's killer. Miller even enlisted the help of law enforcement to investigate the case. Detectives and the FBI were able to profile Abel as a serial sexual offender, with many additional characteristics frequently found in serial killers, and before long, word spread and Abel began to receive unfavorable treatment in the community. At one point, hundreds of people, including Tim Miller, descended upon Abel's property in search of dead bodies they believed had been buried there. People were avoiding him at all costs, crossing the street to avoid him, and some would drive by him shouting, "Killer! You're the killer!" They came up empty-handed. Abel was never charged with a crime, despite Miller's complete conviction that he was the murderer. Despite extensive questioning of Abel and witnesses, as well as thorough searches of the man's home for any sign of the murder, neither the police nor the FBI were ever able to connect Abel to Laura Miller's death. Abel received an apology from Miller at one point for essentially ruining his life as he gradually lost interest in pursuing him as a suspect. Abel's life was likely taken by suicide in July 2005 when he drove his golf cart onto a train track as it was about to pass. Although nothing concrete would ever come of this, Miller would go on to conclude that a Clyde Edwin Hedrick, who was already in jail for manslaughter in another case, was the real killer. Tim Miller established the custom of placing crosses to mark the locations where the bodies of the unidentified killer were discovered, including that of Heidi Villarreal, who vanished while hitchhiking to see her boyfriend in Houston before turning up dead in the fields. Two of the crosses marked the final resting places of two victims who were never even given names. They simply read Jane Doe and Janet Doe. In order...
All right. Yeah, it was all before any kind of DNA mojo for sure. All right, guys. Now, you get to hear my voice as much as I can do. So, all right, give me the little light here to read. Sorry, folks. 1 second here. Okay, so again, there was so many people found. Let me see something. Sorry, I was muted. We do, though. That's not true, Alien. We do here. I have a lot of police officers that are actually friends of mine. that I support. I have a blue light bulb screwed into my porch light in support of the police. All of my children have been taught to support, respect, and love the police. Relatives of mine have been police officers in my family. We support in the area I live in, area that I grew up in, as my sister well knows. We've always supported the police. We have friends that are police officers, so that's not true at all. It may be not as much as it should be in all areas, okay, but we don't see all that. We do see the mistakes they make because they're put out there like that. That's the way society works. You know what I mean? I do feel that police officers should be more celebrated than they are, as is all civil service officers, workers. I'm sorry. Military, even military, but nurses, medical staff, fire, EMS, all of that. It needs to be celebrated more than it is. I absolutely agree on that. But we do that a lot. We just don't see it because, just like anything else, the news is made to show the bad. And that's I was going to say the same thing, Angela. I know of a couple of my police officer friends that I've known that have told me that they know that they have coworkers that are corrupt and crooked. It is what it is. And I'm sorry that happened to you, Alien. That very well could be, or it could be that, you have to look at all aspects of things. It could be that those officers just weren't 100% honest. Okay. It does happen. So it could be either way. Thank you, CC. But, let's see, moving forward. So one of the gentlemen that was accused of some of the, my camera's doing a thing right now. Sorry. Accused of the murders was a William Lewis Reese, born July 1st, 1959. He was one of 13 siblings. Okay. He worked as a farm laborer for years, and then ended up joining the National Guard, married twice, and ended up going to jail in October of 96. I'm sorry. Ended up going to jail. He was married twice, ended up going to jail and getting convicted of 2 essays. Spent 10 years, was released October of 96. Now, a lot of what went on over at the killing fields took place in the year of 1997, okay? Let me move that so you guys can see me. Sorry. So, like I said, he was released from prison in 96, and that was for the essaying of 2 separate women. He, as I said, came out in 96 of October of 96. And then he was also, let me see here. Let me check my notes. He commenced, started to unalive people, I should say, 2 women, between April and August of 97. I'm sorry, there was 4 victims, okay? And they were not identified until September of 97. Okay, so that went on between August and April and August, I'm sorry. And then they were actually finally identified, I should say, in September of 97. Then he was also arrested for attempted unaliving and kidnapping of, I can never say her name correctly, but I think it was Sandra Sopa. Okay. And he got a 60-year sentence for that attack. Okay. I thought I took that down. Did I or did I not? Thank you so very much, Bongo. The twerking money dog is in the house, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First super chat of the night. Whoa. Wow. Thank you so very much. $49.99. That is absolutely amazing, Bongo. Thank you so very much. You are awesome. Thank you for that. All right. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so very much. From my heart, thank you. You are amazing, Bongo. Wow. Excuse me, folks. Okay, so he was arrested for attempted murder and kidnapping of Sandra Sopa. Got a 60-year sentence for the attack. Okay. Now, in the year, and he was in prison, okay, serving that sentence. In 2015, Reese's DNA was found on a dress of Tiffany Johnston, which was one of the other. I'm sorry. How did that go back? One of the other. I thought he took those down. They keep going back. Or was that that wasn't another one, was it? Well, thank you so very much. I absolutely appreciate that, Bongo, more than you know. Okay. In 2015, Reese's DNA was found on the dress of Tiffany Johnston, which was another victim that was put in the story we just listened to. Okay. And she was one of the victims that was found in 97 in the fields that they could not attach a suspect to. Okay. My notes are all over the place, guys, so excuse the way I'm reading this, but I'll get you to the point, I promise you. So in 2015, when they found the DNA, that he was convicted of that one as well. Okay. And then in 2021, that was the one. Tiffany Johnston was the victim that was from Dallas. So that's where that came in at, for who said that back there. No problems, Angela. Take your time. In 2021, he was sentenced to death for that. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I got that crossed over. Excuse me. And then after he was convicted of that, folks, he then, while in jail, confessed to unaliving Miss Jessica Kane, 17 years old, and Kelly Cox, who was a 20-year-old that went missing in 97 as well. Okay. Because of that, when he confessed to those, it was basically a plea that he was trying to pull off. Okay. So he agreed to a plea to avoid the death penalty at that point by admitting to those two unalivings. Very sad, very disgusting. And by doing this, he also told law enforcement where to find the bodies and where to go dig them up. And in turn, he avoided the death penalty. Guys, excuse me for one moment. I'll be right back. My apologies, folks. I needed a little bit more water. Right. All right. 1 second. Back to what we were doing. All right. Now, So that covered that section of or that portion of that, I should say. Thank you very much, Miss Sherry. 1 second. Let me check that before I go forward, guys. Just in case. Excuse me. Interesting. Thank you very much, Miss Sherry. I do appreciate that so very much. Great. So now we also have, as you heard in the story, there was in 1997 as well a girl by the name of Laura Smither that went missing. Okay, she was from Friendswood, Texas. Same year, around the same period of time that all these other women had gone missing, these girls. Okay, again, I don't believe in coincidences, folks, but at this point, this was not able to be put on Mr. Reese, that was already accused and convicted of these other ones. So, wait, what, did something happen here? Or was that just somebody saying thank you to Bongo for what? Okay, just making sure. Thank you so much again. So, again, Laura Smither was found April 27th of 97. Okay, she went missing in 97, was found April of 97. Same scenario. And of course, they looked at, you know, Mr. Reese in regards to that scenario because of all the others that he had admitted to and that he was already convicted of, folks. So the Smithers was found, or how'd they put this? I have to read this the right way because it confused me the way they said it too. Smithers' killing happened 1 month before attempted abduction. Okay, that's what it was. Miss Sapah is the one that survived. Okay, it was an attempted abduction and unaliving and SA, sexual assault, of Miss Sapah that I had, or Sopa that I had explained to you guys before. She survived that scenario. Okay, and that the Smithers killing had happened 1 month before that attempt happened. Okay, so again, it's kind of crazy. What are we doing here? Okay. Now, in the movie, you'll see that was the girl. Well, you'll see it in the movie. The attempt was from a convenience store. In the movie, you'll see that there's a police officer that's working the case. Okay. It's the officer, or it's the what's his name that plays in Walking Dead. I can't think of his name right off the bat, although it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm sorry. But anyway, that shows him pulling up with her, sending her in the convenience store to get something for her stomach. She disappears out the back door. And they were very close to the fields, by the way. And then they go forward from there. So that was attempted from that convenience store. Okay. Now, was named a suspect. There was a gentleman by the name of Webster. Last name was Webster. Was named as a suspect in the Smithers murder that had occurred the month before this attempted abduction happened. Okay, with Miss Sopa. I think I'm saying it right. Anyway, and let me see. He was named as a suspect in the murder, but was never convicted due to lack of evidence. Okay, now let's move forward. June of 2022, a year from this month where we're at right now ago. Where did he go? I must have skipped his name, folks. My apologies. Or did I skip a page? Oh, yeah. I did skip. I forgot to put his name in there. Okay, so this gentleman, this Mr. Webster, was extradited back, 16 years after the fact, back to Texas, and was convicted of murdering, how about this? Convicted of murdering Laura Smithers, Jessica Kane, and Miss Cox, the other two that were left unsolved, okay? And he pled guilty, got 3 death sentences for that, okay? How about that? And as of now, he's 64 years old, and I think this was a year ago. As of a year ago, he was 63 years old, and was in the Alan B. Polinsky unit, West Livington, Texas. That's the prison that he's been sitting in, okay? Now, 1 hour, and that's an hour away, by the way, from the killing fields, folks, where that prison's actually located at. This gets interesting, by the way, you guys, completely. I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as police corruption. This blew my damn mind. It really did. If I can get this paper to change. There we go. Okay, that's what happened. If you guys remember, there was a girl by the last name of Johnston that they had found there, okay? Johnson, okay, go to death row. So what they had done was they had charged and convicted him of killing the Johnston girl, okay? And then he was given the death penalty. He was sent to death row. It took a while to do that. It's weird the way they explain that too. So now, moving forward, okay? Now we come upon Mr. Clyde Hedrick, okay? Clyde Hedrick was a lot like how Ted Bundy was explained. Very charming, very outgoing. 1 sec. Sorry, my son is being a ding-dong, trying to play with the cat, making all sorts of noise in the background. So, moving forward. Like I said, very charming, very outgoing, very friendly, this, that, and everything else, which we all know doesn't mean anything nowadays because Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, all these other people that had these, what they call people skills in some senses. I never thought Manson did, but a lot of people did. This guy, his past was, he had multiple charges, you guys, of enticing children, multiple sexually natured charges, we'll just say, and a lot that had to do with children. Okay. So in 2014, Clyde Hedrick was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter of a woman by the name of Miss Ellen Ray Simpson. Okay. Now here's how this goes down. Or I'm sorry, Miss Ellen Ray Simpson Beeson. I don't understand what these multiple names. So the way this went down, exactly, Carolyn, that's exactly it right there. I mean, they have to lure people to them somehow, and that's how I think it happens. So yeah. So this gentleman, she goes missing, and she's found within I think a week or so. Okay. And they knew that the last person that she was with was Clyde Hedrick. They go to him. They, arrested him because they knew he was the last person with her. And they're sitting in interrogation. He goes, well, she drowned. But and they're, of course, they're like, well, why didn't you go to the police? Why didn't you call somebody to help her? Well, I was afraid to take her to the hospital because I was afraid that I'd be arrested for it. Okay. I don't believe she drowned. I think he probably drowned her, did something to her, and then drowned her. Okay. And that's probably what happened. So that's why he was charged with involuntary manslaughter. Now, let's back up again. Back in July of 1984 in Galveston, Texas. Okay. Oh, wait. I got this backed up. I got this completely screwed up, guys. My notes are backwards. I do that sometimes. My apologies. Ellen Ray Simpson Beeson, that's the person we were talking about, was found in July of 1984. That's when this happened, okay, in Galveston, Texas. And they knew that he was the last to be seen with her. 20 years later, he gets charged finally with they found her, obviously, in 2014. He's charged and convicted of involuntary manslaughter for that. And 1 second, folks. And when they, that's when they had the conversation with him in interrogation. They asked him, you know, how did this happen? What went down? Blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, she drowned. And, you know, I was afraid to take her to the hospital. I was afraid I'd be charged for doing it. Blah, 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 blah. They're like, you know, you could have like made an anonymous call. You could have done something instead of leaving her there for 20 years. It's sad. And I can't either, Marley. I can't believe they believed him either. But regardless, he still did prison time. So here we go. And then we get to Mr. Tim Miller. Okay, now Clyde Hedrick was actually Tim Miller's neighbor. Okay, and his daughter, the one that went missing, had told him when they were living next door to Mr. Hedrick. That would be Laura Miller, the little girl that went missing. Okay. She had told her father that she was afraid of Mr. Hedrick as their neighbor multiple times. And, you know, he just figured, you know, he's a creepy old man. She's afraid of it. Never thought twice of it. Until these other things started showing up. Okay. And let me see. As of, I think it was 2018. There was never enough evidence to convict Hedrick of Laura Miller's death, right? Once again. And as of 2018, Hedrick still claims that he didn't do it. Okay. He's sitting in prison on the involuntary manslaughter case. He got out of prison by that. He only did 8 years. Yeah, he did 8 years, got out of prison. He's walking free at this point. Sorry, I was thinking of the other guy. There's so many of these people, guys. It's insane. We were going nuts with this today. And he's walking free. And Tim has said that he will not give up. As long as he's walking and breathing, he's not going to go away. And he is repeatedly pushing to have Hedrick put in prison for the death of his daughter. I can't blame him, okay? But again, no evidence, no conviction on that. So he did his time on the involuntary manslaughter, which you would think he would get more time after waiting 20 years. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Anyway, because again, she went missing in 84 too. Okay, September 10th. Laura Miller went to make a call to call a friend of hers and never came back. She was found a year later in the fields, of course, right on Calder Road, by the way. Marley, you were talking about Calder Road. That's why I mentioned that, because that's where they found her. Very sad. Very, very sad. And let me see. Again, here we go. League City, 1983. Miss Heidi Fye goes missing in 1983, found in 1984. Okay. This is insane how many people have gone, how many women have gone missing, and how many different people have been put as suspects for this. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Okay, I'm sorry. I must have had the date wrong. Laura Miller was found in 86. That's right. And then 2 more bodies were found. Miss Audrey Lee Cook, I'm sorry. And I can never say this name. It was Donna Ganushin and Prudham. I can say the last name. And at this point, Clyde Hedrick had been released from prison after doing his 8 years. He got a 20-year sentence, got out 8 years, right? Okay. Like I said, my notes were backwards, folks. My apologies. He got out on good behavior, October of 2021. How about that? And Mr. Tim Miller is still driving the campaign to have him put back in because he still believes that Laura Miller's death was caused from Clyde Hedrick. 90% of people who are murdered are by people that know. That's a fact. That is a fact. Carolyn, that is a true stat. So now, also, Mr. Tim Miller filed a wrongful death suit against Mr. Hedrick for, I want to say it, and he won for $2.3 million, which he'll never get a dime of, I'm sure. Didn't they live on or near? They lived near Calder Road, yes. Right near there. I was getting to that next, but thank you, Marley. All right. And now moving forward. And he said that he will not quit until the day he dies, pushing for Hedrick to be put back in prison for the death of his daughter. Now we have another name that popped up, Mr. Kevin Edison Smith. Okay. He was arrested in April of 2012 for the murder of Miss Crystal Jean Baker, guys. Guess where they found her? Surprise. He was arrested and convicted, charged and convicted, which was 16 years after Miss Baker was found. She was found in 96, March of 96. 96 and 97, it seems like all of these murders and everything happened in those 2 years in that area, folks. It's insanity. And all these different names as suspects is what's blowing, like really, really throwing me off. But you'll see something here in a minute, okay? Okay, so where did it go? Oh, yes. Miss Baker was SA'd, beaten, and strangled. And then they happened to find, okay, when DNA became a thing, okay, when DNA became a thing, they happened to find DNA on her dress, okay, and it belonged to, I knew I was going to mess this up. Okay, these two gentlemen here, John Robert King and Gerald Peter, I can't say his name, Zworst, okay? They were initially charged with this, okay? They both died in prison, okay? Thank you so very much, Miss Brandy. Right, exactly, Carolyn. And they found the DNA of, where did his name go? That Kevin Edison Smith on Miss Baker's dress. Okay. What's up, Bobby? Good to see you. So these two guys went to prison for this. They didn't do it. They claimed to be innocent the whole time, but it is what, it's what happened. Now, back to the Sandra's, I can never say it. I think it's Seppo. They've changed their name twice. Now we come upon this gentleman by the name of Michael Lloyd, okay? In 1974, convicted of killing. If you guys remember the names way back in the beginning, Shaw was her last name. And this one is the Michael Lloyd gentleman was convicted of killing Mrs. Shaw and one other, I do believe. And they found, this is what I was talking about for Alien's comment earlier. They found that he was wrongly convicted, was put in prison. Now gather this. This blows my mind too. Thank you so very much, Miss Brandy. I appreciate that. The man goes to prison for the, SA unaliving of this, or attempted. Yeah. and this other woman as well. They found that he was wrongly convicted. Let me see, it was police Don Morris and Tommy Deal. Police Chief Don Morris and Officer Tommy Deal, they found them to be corrupt. They coerced this Michael Lloyd. They coerced oh my God, guys, I can't think. I told you I'm not feeling good. They coerced the what is wrong with me tonight? The man admitted to doing this, but they coerced it out of him, okay? They beat him. They threatened him multiple times and hurt him like multiple different ways, to the point where they scared the death out of him, and he admitted to doing it, okay? Well, then it came out from multiple other officers that had been done multiple other times. So they were found to be guilty of corruption, abuse, so on and so forth, and convicted for it and put in prison for it. Well, then later on down the road, officials in that town admitted to multiple forms of corruption that went on through the law enforcement agency in that town. Insanity. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. And it was handled horribly. And I may be throwing this off a little bit because my notes are off, guys. And I apologize for this one tonight, folks. I was trying to do this way, but then I didn't realize I wasn't going to start getting sick. So please accept my apology. I promise the next one will be better. So yeah. And that's where it goes back to what I was talking about police corruption, in that regard, Alien. When so go unconvicted, they continue to assault others, usually leads to killing victims in future because they don't stop. Correct. And here's the thing. They had eventually at some point pled guilty to the corruption charges that they had put against them and went to jail, and the man still stayed in prison. How's that work? How does that work? So, moving along. That kind of stuff just bugs me. Now we're back to Mr. Edward Harold Bell, as you heard in the video, right? Excuse me. Admitted to killing 11 women total. Okay, confessed to killing. Let me see. Sorry about that. He confessed. He was charged with killing 11 women total, confessed to killing 2. And they were actually the 2 that he was actually convicted of, were the Johnson and Shaw that we had talked about in the beginning of this confession. Thank you, Mrs. M. Good God, I can't think. I feel like crap, guys. My apologies. And he was never charged for the murders, okay? And he died in 2019. So again, this is unbelievable to me, you guys. I wish I could do this better for you guys. And then we also have a Mark Roland Stalling. I think that's pronounced correct. Am I doing that? I must be doing that with my keyboard. My apologies. Yeah, Mark Roland Stalling, they actually found was, if you guys remember that lady by the name of Donna Prudhomme, that I had tried to say her name, I couldn't say it. He was actually the one that unalived her, okay, and lived in League City. And now they believe that this guy was actually the one that was maybe responsible for quite a few others, okay? But he passed in 2019, so they couldn't put any more on him. Now, it's been said that it has stopped, per se. A lot of it has stopped. But it's also being said that there's it's still happening. It's just not being talked about as much as it was. It blows my mind, as I said, that this many unalivings happened at this time, guys. It's crazy. It freaks me out a bit because again, people like it's wild that you're in here, Marley. People like Marley that live in that area, that grew up in that area. Thank God that you came out of it safe and sound. It's, you know, who knows how many other people that went missing with this. Let me give you this here. And maybe I can get that off because I don't have to look at those notes anymore. And now, there's the other part of it, folks. And again, please excuse the way I read all that to you guys. Like I said, my throat, everything. I'm not 100%. All right, here we go.
A cursed stretch of land.
All right. One moment.
Investigations of possible killers. Could a confession letter from prison be the key to solving a decades-old cold case? Located near Galveston, the Texas Killing Fields is a 25-acre stretch of land only a mile from Interstate 45. Bordering the Calder oil field and League City, the location is relatively remote, and even more so back in the 1970s. According to CBS News, it didn't go unnoticed that the isolated nature of the spot makes it the perfect place for taking someone else's life, unseen and unheard. The legal ins and outs of the area also contribute to its suitability as a location perfect for getting away with murder. According to Deliver Us, 3 decades of murder and redemption in the infamous I-45 Texas Killing Fields, the fields and surrounding small towns fall under the jurisdiction of 3 separate counties. This meant that for much of the history of the crimes here, investigations were muddled and dispersed amongst 11 different departments. The nearby highway, which can quickly bring people here from far afield and that provides a quick exit, adds yet another layer of difficulty to solving the crimes committed here. That's not to say, however, that law enforcement has given up.
Anything that anybody in the public knows, anything, no matter how small they think it is, we really want them to come forward because it may be very significant to us.
Since the early 1970s, the remains of 30 people have been recovered from the Texas Killing Fields, mainly women and girls. Some were quickly identified, while others languished for decades without a name to link them to a past and a family that was surely looking for them. The killings appear to have stopped around 2006, however. The FBI explains that this is likely because the area has become more developed and populated since the 1990s. Today, it has a paved access road and a housing development has even sprung up nearby, increasing the number of potential witnesses to any crimes committed here. The site has also increased in notoriety and today has the attention of law enforcement, people interested in true crime cases, and those who visit a memorial in the fields dedicated to some of the victims. One of the first known victims found in the Texas Killing Fields was Colette Wilson, a 13-year-old girl who was abducted from an intersection in Alva, Texas. According to the True Crime Edition, Wilson had just returned from band camp and was waiting for her mother, Claire, to pick her up. Mere minutes passed between when Colette was dropped off and when her mom arrived to find a deserted intersection. It soon became apparent that she was missing, perhaps taken by a car that Colette's mother had seen on her way to pick her daughter up. Police initially assumed that Colette was a runaway, leading the Wilson family to round up their neighbors and form an impromptu search party. The police finally admitted that Colette was likely abducted, but seemed to bungle the search, throwing away potential evidence and squandering vital time. While searching for Colette's, other victims were discovered, including 14-year-old Brenda Jones and 19-year-old Gloria Ann Gonzalez. Not long after, Colette's skeletal remains were uncovered nearby. Given the frequency of the killings and the similarities of some of the crime scenes, it's thought that the Texas Killing Fields have been used by one or multiple serial.
And see, there's so many more that I didn't even mention to you guys, unbelievable as it is, because the way that the research I did was that there were so many. It said that there's more here, there's more there. So here they are, folks. That's why I was showing you this side too. That's a good point there, Mojo. Where the hell are the Texas Rangers? You would think. Well, one gentleman did take on this cold case and started finding these out as the years came by, and got closer to where we're at now. It is insane. 30 people, guys, 30. Like, this has got to be one of the most horrific cases. And they're saying that they believe it's multiple serial killers, which is insane to me. They just, okay, we can do what we want to do, and we'll just go out to the fields, dump, and move. That's what they do, guys. It's crazy. Again, sorry to interrupt. I just had to say that.
Serial killers. Texas Monthly reporter Skip Hollingsworth said that many police detectives and FBI agents are convinced that this is a personal graveyard of a vicious serial killer. Haunting details link some of the crimes, including the arrangement of victims' remains beneath trees in some fields. It's led to some investigators going so far as to suggest that they formed a kind of walking trail used by a single killer to linger over the remains. A retired NASA engineer named Robert Abel was suspected of being one such killer, but few seem to agree on whether Abel was responsible for any of the Texas Killing Field murders. According to The Guardian, Tim Miller, the father of victim Laura Miller, was so convinced that Abel was his daughter's killer that he stalked Abel rifle and even reportedly held a gun to the engineer's head in an effort to get him to confess. Abel maintained his innocence until his death, and no evidence directly connecting him with the killings was ever uncovered. Miller later apologized to Abel for the harassment. In September 1984, Laura Miller was a 16-year-old who had recently moved to League City, Texas. According to the FBI, she showed promise in music class but had difficulty managing a seizure disorder, began to withdraw from both school and social life. That September, Laura's mother drove her to a payphone so Laura could make a call to her boyfriend. Laura said she would walk back home after the call but never reappeared at the Miller house. Police initially told her family that she was likely a runaway, perhaps assuming that Laura was reacting to the pressures of the recent move and her health problems. The Guardian reports that in spite of extensive searches, they never found or heard from their daughter again. Laura's remains were eventually found more than 2 years after her disappearance. The same oil field on Calder Road where another woman had been found. More remains of women both known and unidentified would be discovered in the same fields. Some suspect that they were the victim of the same killer, but families haven't gotten the closure they so desperately desire. Laura's father, Tim, now runs a nonprofit, Texas EquiSearch, which works to locate missing people in the United States and beyond. The organization has helped to find over 400 living people since it was founded in 2000.
It's always going to be that empty plate at the dinner table, but, her death wasn't in vain.
The Houston Chronicle says that Sharon Shaw and Rhonda Renee Johnson were among the 4 so-called surfer girls who disappeared in the summer of 1971. The 2 friends would often hitchhike back home, and that's exactly what they did on August 4th, 1971, the last day they were seen alive. Later that year, Debbie Ackerman and Maria Johnson, who spent time in the same places as Shaw and Johnson, also disappeared. All 4 were killed. Their remains later found in the nearby bayous. Michael Lloyd Self, a mechanic, was arrested in 1972 for the murders of Shaw and Johnson, according to the Houston Chronicle. It may have been a relief for locals to see him convicted and sentenced to life in prison. The relief would be short-lived. While Self was locked away in prison, the killings continued. There were also some serious problems with Self's conviction. Chief of Police Don Morris reportedly threatened Self during the interrogation process, going so far as to force Self to play Russian roulette with a loaded gun. Self died in prison in 2000. Many wondering if the wrong man had been convicted after all.
I did not kill Sharon Shaw and Renee Johnson. It was just all behind politics and wanting a conviction.
Kevin Edison Smith is one of the few killers with a confirmed link to remains found in the Texas killing fields. In 2012, he was convicted of capital murder for the death of Crystal Jean Baker, a 13-year-old girl who was abducted from a Texas City convenience store in 1996. The Houston Chronicle says that Baker, who was a great niece of Norma Jean Baker, who was also known by her stage name Marilyn Monroe, had argued with her grandmother and stormed out of the house. She called her mother from a payphone at the convenience store and then was never heard from again. Baker's killer was finally identified when clothing recovered from the crime scene was tested for DNA evidence. It matched the sample taken from Smith at an earlier arrest. Smith admitted to abducting and killing Baker, then leaving her remains.
Thank you so much, Marley.
Authorities also questioned Smith about other unsolved murder cases related to the Texas killing fields. As the decades pass, advances in technology are helping to reveal the identities of remains found in the Texas killing fields. The Washington Post says that in 2019, 2 women, previously known only as Jane Doe and Janet Doe, were identified as Audrey Lee Cook and Donna Prudhomme via DNA testing. For cases that have seemingly stalled out decades ago, it was a hugely significant development and one that proved the power of DNA analysis. Though it's still unknown who took their lives, the news brought some closure to Cook and Prudhomme's families. Cook was a 30-year-old mechanic who had moved to Houston for work, and according to ABC 13, last contacted her family in 1985. Prudhomme was a mother of 2 who was last seen in the summer of 1991. Technology may be helping law enforcement to identify the victims found in the Texas killing fields, but the names of perpetrators are even more difficult to pin down. One man has received plenty of attention for his possible link to multiple crimes in the area, as Houston Public Media reports. In the 1990s, Edward Harold Bell was serving a 70-year sentence for murder. From his prison cell, he claimed that he killed 11 girls linked to the Texas killing fields. He referred to them as the 11 who went to heaven and provided names for 4 of his reported victims, as well as details like hair color and the years he committed the crimes. Bell died in 2019, leaving behind little real evidence for authorities to confirm his story. DNA may have provided some insights, but it was impossible to recover it from some of the evidence, which had been collected decades ago. Some have also speculated that Bell falsely confessed to gain attention and notoriety. Yet, as the Houston Chronicle reports, it's hard for investigators to ignore the detailed confession letter Bell left behind. That letter includes details that line up eerily well with the facts of some cases, and if it means closure for some heartbroken families, well, that's just one more mystery that may remain buried in the killing fields.
It may be labeled a cold case. That doesn't mean it's just sitting on the shelf not being worked. It's being worked actively at FBI.
Authorities are actively looking for leads relating to the Texas killing fields murders. Anyone with information is encouraged to visit tips.fbi.gov or reach out to their local FBI office.
All right, and there we are. Sorry. So as you guys, I think I had some dates and some names switched around, guys, so my apologies, please. Like I said, I was madly writing things down, researching. She was yelling things at me. I was yelling things at her back and forth. What's up, Stone? Good to see you. So my apologies if I had that twisted around, but the gist of it is what it was. But it's still insane to me how many people and how many possible suspects there were with this case, guys. It's crazy. Excuse me. So that's it, folks. that is the story behind the Texas Killing Fields, and I'm still recommending to watch the movie. And I'm gonna go check out the series and see what we think of it. So for sure. It sounds and looks pretty good. So I'll be checking it. And I'm always down for a good new series to watch, guys. That's a promise. That is a promise. Okay, that's no more. Does anybody have any questions or any comments or theories in regards to that at all? It is, Heather. It's a whole lot. And like I said, I'm not feeling good tonight, so it would have been better. My apologies. I wish it could have been. I don't know if I got a sinus infection turning into something else. I hope so, Carolyn. I don't know what's going on, but it's all in my chest here, starting already. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get into the doctor in the morning early. But anyway, does anybody have any? Definitely heard the 11 that went to heaven. Yeah, that's crazy. Does anybody have any suggestions for Thursday? I do have one. King G's, are you a killer? Okay, no trolls in here, buddy. So if that's what you're trying to do, you might as well take a walk, bud. Sorry to say. I don't know how old you are, but you seem kind of young. Anyway, Tim Miller's been a broken man ever since the day. Absolutely. Absolutely. But he has not given up on helping others as well as himself. Well, hon, I would do the Blair Witch. It's not really based on true crime. And it's not, from what I understand, it's not based on a true story. I love that movie, though. Both, even the new one. Who is Vincent Cook? Good to see you, Vince. Thanks for joining us. That would go more along to the paranormal side of things when we do that, Miss Brandy. I was talking to you, King G. I was just curious. You asked somebody if they're a killer and asked Heather if she was young. Seems kind of odd questions for what we talk about in here. Right. That's my thought. That's what I was thinking, Heather. No, it's okay, Brandy. I appreciate it. I do. Like I said, at some point, I thought that may have been based on true stories, and it's not really. There's a piece of it that is, from what I was understanding, but I was just making sure, King G, because like I said, we do kind of take some of this stuff serious in here, so I didn't know. It's all right. You don't have to apologize. We do have people that do troll these channels sometimes, and I was just making sure you weren't being a troll. That's all. Let me see. More crime movies of the 50s. Good stuff, Vincent. Good stuff. Absolutely. So one of the movies I had listed was we're gonna go back to it again. No Man of God. And also oh my God, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I can't think the first day of my life tonight, guys. My apologies. Where did it go? Oh, the true story behind the movie about the Menendez brothers. So, No Man of God and the Menendez brothers, basically. I can't think of what the movie is called. I think it was called Menendez Brothers. Regardless, there was a Lifetime movie made and another one made. So, Equisearch is absolutely amazing. You're okay, King. As long as you don't offend anybody or say anything out of line, you're absolutely fine, son. Or sir, sorry. I see my son running behind me, so. That was, I think, one of the first ones that we covered, Mojo. The town of Texarkana. Yeah, which is a great story, by the way. We may go back and do that one again later down the road, since it's fine, King, since it was like the first story we covered. Does anybody have anything else before I throw those two into the poll? Can you give me a paper towel, son? So I can blow my nose. All right. We are going to start a Monster in My Family story about Robert Yates. Ooh. Did they make a movie out of that one, Carolyn? I've heard about Robert Yates. Yeah, I know. I know, Heather. It sucks. Excuse me. Is there a movie, Carolyn, that you know of? Oh, okay. Have you covered the serial killer called Lords of the Harvest? No, Vincent, we have not. What's up, crazy girl? Good to see you. Do you know the name of the movie, Carolyn, or is it the Monster in My Family? Is that what it's called? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll look into that one this week. Check it out, see if it's fitting for this, and then we can throw that maybe on the bill next week. I'm trying to, Sherry. I'm hoping to God I can get into a doctor, so I don't want to go through what I went through before. That would have been Mr. David James, crazy girl. It happened last night, as it is. So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna go with Ian Powers of Spokane. Okay, Vincent, I will look into that. Monster in My Family. Thank you, Carolyn. I will check that out, look into it, and like I said, if it fits the bill, I'll throw it on the poll next week, and we will see what happens with it. Thank you so much for that info, Carolyn. I appreciate it. But as of this week, we're going to vote on No Man of God. We're going to eventually get that out here, and the Menendez Brothers movie. So I'm throwing that one up first. No Man of God. Get your votes in. I'm working on it, Mojo. I'm working on it. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you. It's a great movie. Yes, I agree. And the story is, it's amazing. The true story is, it's crazy. I know I shouldn't say amazing. It's enthralling per se. Why do you have that? Can I have that pen?
It's your pen.
You know. All right, go put those away. Thank you. Took 20 years to profile Yates. That's crazy. I bet. Right. Well, that one hit 100% already. So, okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. 100% of you guys said yes. and 0% said no. So there's that. This ought to be interesting. All right, and the Menendez brothers. I guess there's some new stuff that's come out with that too, which would be interesting to throw in there. Yeah, we did cover the Green River Killer too, not too long ago. What did you say, OCD? Thank you, Heather, for that again. Did I miss something? Let me go backwards a little bit. I donate to searching loved ones' names instead of giving gifts. That's awesome, OCD. That is absolutely awesome. Much respect and love for that. Seriously. I'm not sure, Vincent. I just found that out today. There's over, I think it's 30 kids missing in Ohio and around Cleveland in the past month. I'm like, what's going on with that? I live in Ohio, so I'm very curious. Someone else has accused their father of SA. Who are we talking about, Heather? Wow. Here, let me get this other poll up for you real quick. Right. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yep. I thought you were talking about something different, but yeah, that's what's going on with Menendez. Okay. That poll's up, guys. Vote on that one too. We'll see what happens. If we can get the same thing on both of them, we'll have to throw a tiebreaker up in there somehow. I'm guessing that they're all definitely not still in Ohio, sad to say. It's a lot of kids to go missing. It's got me kind of freaked out, I'll be honest with you. Even if it doesn't make it, folks, we're still going to cover this one. So being sold and trafficked, I agree so very much, Carolyn. Like I said, each one of those kids is not in this state anymore, I can guarantee you. Or maybe not even in this country at this point, It's sad. Yeah, I'm sad that I still live here, Brandy, but that's where the family's at. Got to do what I got to do. Oh, okay, Carolyn. Gotcha. Oh, okay, Mojo. Yeah, I'm in Northeast Ohio, so we're probably not too far from each other at all. I'm about an hour, 40 minutes south of Cleveland, so very, very close to that area. Was there in 2000. Gotcha. All right. It doesn't look like this one's going very far, so I think that No Man of God made it. And again, guys, we will pick up the Menendez brothers down the road. Let's see the total on this one. It's very creepy, guys. In 1 month, that's a child a day. A child a day. That just doesn't make sense. 55% to 44%. Yes, on Menendez. So it didn't make it for tonight, but we will be coming back to that one for sure. Oh yeah, absolutely, Miss Carolyn, absolutely. So guys, your homework for Thursday is to see the movie. There's actually a book too. If you guys are into reading and want to read it, that's up to you. But it's called No Man of God. Let me give you guys a trailer on it. It is a good movie. Very good movie, I thought. I agree, Miss Carolyn. So do I. The movie came out in 2021. You got to check this out, folks. It's a pretty good movie. And Bilbo Baggins is in it, so can't go wrong there. Always. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, sorry about that. Here we go. Let's move through this. 1 second, guys. Tell me if the audio is okay again. 1 second. Give you subtitles in case you don't hear something. And we're good on that. And again, the movie is called No Man of God. This is, as usually, based on a true story. All right. Sorry about that, guys. It wasn't. You guys didn't hear it? Are you kidding me? What happened here? Let's try that again. I'm so sorry, folks. I don't know how that happened. I must have unclicked it or something at the wrong time. I told you guys I'm off. I'm off today. Completely off today. I don't know how I did that. My apologies once again. You guys, you don't need to leave a like or any of that tonight. This was horrible. sorry again. Let's do this one more time. I had the box clicked and everything, so that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Let's do this again. Where's your mother at? All right, I hope that was better. Again, my apologies. This has been probably the worst stream I've ever had, guys. I'm sorry. I feel so guilty. I just feel like caca. So my apologies once again. I'll make up to you guys somehow, I promise. So yeah, that is about Mr. Ted Bundy, folks. Elijah Wood. I think it's a great movie. It really is. If you haven't seen it, please see it. And of course, we'll be telling the story about that whole scenario there. You can't go wrong with that. So, birth certificate fraud used to be a big deal between Windsor Canyon. Okay. Right. Let me see something here. I don't know. I don't like doing that to you guys. I feel bad.
Joining us.
All right, guys. Let me show you this here real quick. I've been kind of looking at this a little bit since this popped up. What's up, Miss Nancy? MVP. Why are you scared, ma'am? I'm hoping so, Vincent. I think we've all put enough time into it that we pray that somebody does and that it's true justice with it. Why are you scared, man? Miss Nancy. Well, I know I'm not perfect, but you guys deserve better than what I gave you tonight and this morning, in my opinion. But I feel bad when I don't. You guys are awesome people, and I just feel like you deserve the best of what I can give you. And today was not the best, so I do definitely apologize. And what's going to happen is if this gets any worse and I can't get it better, I'm just not going to be live because I'm not going to put you guys through that. That's horrible. I'll just have to catch up down the road, obviously. Yeah, guys, I wanted to give you guys this little report on what's going on because a lot of people are asking questions about this. I figured we could cover this real quick tonight while we're still together. All right, Miss Brandy, thank you for being here tonight, Swiss. I appreciate you. Okay, guys, here we go.
Now, for more on this is Bill Bolden, a senior inspector with the U.S. Marshals Service, and Newburgh Heights, Ohio Police Chief John Majoy. His suburb is just outside of Cleveland. It's great to have both of you here. Chief, I'd like to start with you. These numbers are alarming. 34 kids disappearing just in May. What do you think is going on?
Well, I think the key thing here is maybe not so much disappearing, but there could be a runaway. There's no evidence to show any abductions or any other criminal enterprise that may be involved in this. But it's still an alarming number all the same, being that there's this many children reported missing at this time of year. School's getting out, the weather's getting warmer. So it is certainly an uptick, and it's certainly something that we want to make sure we draw concern to and bring the public's awareness to this so we can help bring these kids home safe.
Chief, is there any geographic pattern? Are they missing from certain neighborhoods?
No, I don't think that there's any pattern that's certainly pointing to a certain area or a certain dimension. I think it's just one of those areas where from time to time we'll see an uptick in burglaries, we'll see an uptick in perhaps road rage incidents or robberies or something like that. And so anytime that crime or incidents like this spike, there's a concern, and we certainly want to bring the public to be aware of this. But really, there's no smoking gun that's pointing in a particular direction. It's going to say, okay, this is what the culprit is, or this is what the cause is, and this is what we need to do to prevent it or to bring these kids home safe. It's really going to be a conglomerate of effort to bring these kids home safe.
Inspector Bolden, the vast majority of kids who go missing are runaways, but that doesn't mean they're out of danger.
Right, that's correct. What we've learned is the largest percentage of cases that we work start out as runaways. And once these kids get on the street, they're very susceptible to become victims of a whole variety of crimes. They have very little resources to survive, and they're often forced to either engage in criminal activity or other activities, just to survive on the street and keep a roof over their head.
Right, that's what leads to trafficking, right?
That leads to trafficking. That leads to a whole variety of other issues. Oftentimes it's not the trafficking that you see in the movies. It's simply they're engaging in activity just so they can have a roof over their head and food to eat. And there's no shortage of people to take advantage of these kids when they're out there.
Chief, more than half the missing kids on your website do not have recent pictures. How much?
You guys, here's another thing that this kind of alarms me a little bit. I know it's not the same person because he's deceased now, but it was around 2002, 2004. Okay. His name was Ariel Castro. This is in Cleveland as well. He had kidnapped Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina DeJesus. If you guys remember that. Okay. And held them captive in his home for over 10 years. Okay. And luckily they got out and they all survived. But that's what I'm saying, guys. And then, Ariel was, convicted, put in prison, and then I believe he unalived himself. So it's just alarming. Cleveland's a bad area. Don't get me wrong. It very much is. Okay. But this to me feels like a trafficking scenario, and Ohio has had its issues with it. I'm not lying to you guys. We sit on our kids around here, and I'm telling you, I'm not lying. We really do. It's just, this is scary to me. This is very scary to me. 34 kids in 30 days, the month of May. I mean, just like that. Runaway's runaway. I get that. Okay. If you look at the board, I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. I just wanted to say that real quick.
Does that hinder your search for them?
It's a tremendous hindrance because it's so difficult to chase down a name versus a face. And so the more that we can get these faces out there for the public to see, the better off we are. But unfortunately, as you see, there's over half of those that don't have photos available, which is really challenging for law enforcement because it makes it all the more harder to go ahead and broadcast this out to the public and bring.
This is what's a problem for me. Look, there's no photos for these kids. Why? Why are there no photos of these kids? That makes zero sense to me. Okay. Now, yes, some of them look older, teenage wise, which, yeah, you can attribute that to runaway, but you can also very much so attribute that to trafficking because, you know, of their ages, in my opinion. I mean, they're not giving ages, but you can look at them and see it. Very, very strong minority influence. Yes, 100%. That's a bother to me. Yeah, this is scary, folks. This is very scary. You know, I'm signed into that the Center for Missing Children thing, all that. I'm supposed to get Amber Alerts, blah blah blah. I'm very close to this area, okay, to where I should be getting Amber Alerts. I haven't. Not in the month. I did not get one Amber Alert in the month of May. I should be getting them because I'm close enough to this that it should be affecting me. Okay. Not only I'm on the national list for that as well, because of what I do. You know, I broadcast about missing kids and I do, you know, investigative reporting about missing kids. Why did I not receive one Amber Alert about any one of these kids? Explain that to me. That's the problem I have with this. Okay. This is insane, you guys. Absolutely insane. 34 kids in 30 days. That's one child plus a day. In and around the city of Cleveland. I mean, I'm guessing it is OCD. It's like, is this... I had somebody message me earlier about this and said, Dago, is this population control? I mean... I would hate to think something like that, you guys, but look at this board. Look. 1 month. I can't. And that's the problem, Carolyn. The state probably has slotted them all as runaways at this point because of their age grouping. The rest of these kids, I'd like to see all of them, but we can't. I'd like to get their ages. We don't have that. I'm going to be doing a little digging into this on the side of what we're doing already because this bugs me. This bugs me in a bad way. I don't even want to think that, Vincent. I don't. Okay. Sadly, that does come along with this in some senses, but I don't want to think that, you guys. I'm going to ask you guys, and you don't have to do this because a lot of people don't do this, and I understand if you don't want to. All I'm going to do is ask you guys to say a silent prayer to yourselves for these kids, please, that something happens, that these kids are found in some form or fashion, okay? That they're healthy and they're safe and they come home. That's all I'm saying. Because this is the most disturbing thing I have seen, and I don't know how long. That's another point too, Carolyn. That's why I want to do a little digging. I know what you're saying, OCD. I do. So if you guys would just say every day, if you would, or every now and again, if you can remember, just say a silent prayer that these kids are found healthy and safe is all I'm saying. And that's all I'm asking.
Bring awareness to that. And it's a detriment to the case at times because it slows things down quite a bit.
Right. The officers, witnesses, people in the neighborhood, they don't know who they're looking for. They don't know what face to look for.
Exactly.
Inspector, so many kids spend so much time on social media. How much might that be factoring in here? For example, meeting somebody online that, you know, has said, hey, let's meet. So, you know, run away and let's meet here or there.
I think social media is a big driving factor behind
Thank you,
These
Mojo.
kids, they're going to be inclined to run away from whatever situation they're running away from anyway. But now, instead of just being in their neighborhood or down the street or with somebody they met at school, now they have this instant ability to make friends or hook up with somebody from a different city, different county, different state, where prior to social media, they would tend to stay in their own neighborhoods and their own communities.
Right.
Now they just
and
travel the world.
Inspector, a lot of times the person you're communicating with online may be catfishing you. They're not who they say they are.
Absolutely.
How many
Most
times
of the
do you see
time.
that happen with kids?
Oftentimes we see them, especially the younger kids. They're corresponding with people through social media that they believe are their age, and they're often.
And that's a problem I have too, you guys. And I have to talk about this, okay? My son is 17, my youngest. I have 7 kids. They range from 30, 28, 29, and 3 26-year-olds, and my 17-year-old son, okay? My 17-year-old was not allowed to touch social media until he was 15 years old, okay? Some parents may think that that's, overkill, overprotective. I'm a hover parent, whatever you want to call it, guys. There's reasons for that, okay? There's reasons why I'm like that. And we did that with all of my kids. Once social media became a thing, they were not allowed on it either until they were a certain age. Because you have to have a mentality, I think, that these kids need, and an education from parents to understand what goes on social media, okay? And sadly, I hate to say this, but social media has become a babysitter for some people's kids, okay? They let their kids go to Facebook, to this, to that, to everything else to keep them out of their hair. No, guys, that's not how we do this. That is not what parenting is about, and that is what is happening. And these kids will go and they'll find someone that pays attention to them on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to go to, okay? And they'll find somebody that pays attention to them, that tells them that they're pretty, or tells them that they're handsome, or tells them that they're a good kid, or wants to be their friend. And that's not what they're doing, okay? They're trying to groom these kids online and then bring them to them. And this is what happens, what's going on right now, okay? And we cannot let this happen. We cannot let this happen anymore, guys. We have to be accountable. We have to be responsible for our kids. I've taught my children the same thing for my grandchildren. My grandchildren don't do this. My grandson is not even allowed to be on Facebook. Pictures or nothing. And sometimes it sucks because I can't see pictures of him via Facebook. But you know what? At least I know he's safe. And I'm okay with that. Because my kids were taught the same things that we do. Okay? And that's what needs to happen. Yes, Mikey, I'm a helicopter parent. And I was. Because of this situation. I was almost abducted when I was 7 years old, you guys. It scared the shit out of me. Okay? It can happen to anybody. 30 kids, 34 kids in 30 days. This is unbelievably insane. I cannot believe this. And that's another thing. We need to start watching. All of us. We are the only people that can change this, you guys, and make this stop. Okay? I know I sound I'm raising my voice. I am so passionate about this. You have no idea. I'm not angry. I am angry, but I'm not mad at you guys. I just, when I get passionate about something, that's what happens. My voice gets louder. And of course, the hands start going. I'm just saying we have to be responsible. We have to be accountable. We have to be the ones to stop this. Nobody else is going to do it. These are our kids. These are our grandkids. This is our future, you guys. And they're disappearing a ton at a time. It's insane. Absolutely, Mike. I agree. And that's a fact, guys. And that is perfect grooming age to get what they want. And these kids will be sold all over the place, out of the country, guys. I've seen it. The statistics, I've read about it. They're sold off to Africa, Nigeria, Italy, Germany, like nothing. And look at them. The ones we can see. Where did it go? Where did it go? The ones we can see, they are all, like she said, between 13 and 17. I can't. I can't. This is absolutely disgusting. We got to change it. We have to change it. We have to take responsibility for our children and our grandchildren and keep them safe, because this makes me sick. I am so scared for these kids at this point, and this is so close to me. It really is that close to me. And here's the thing, even if they're runaways, there's a reason they're running, okay? Again, take accountability. Stop having kids if you don't want them. If you can't take care of them, get help. It's out there. I promise you. This really burns me so bad. Sorry for jumping back. I'll go back and let this play out.
Or hook up with somebody from a different city, different county, different state, where prior to social media, they would tend to stay in their own neighborhoods and their own communities.
Right.
Now they just travel the world.
Inspector,
Good evening,
a lot
Eve.
of times the person you're communicating with online may be catfishing you. They're not who they say they are.
Absolutely.
How many times do you see that happen with kids?
We oftentimes we see them, especially the younger kids. They're corresponding with people through social media that they believe are their age, and they're oftentimes older adults, 20s, 30s. We've had them, in their 50s that have been, before.
Yet. I did it again with the damn mute thing. I'm sorry. Again. Tiffany says, sorry, 34 children do not run away all at the same time. Does not happen. I'm not voting for you. Absolutely, Tiffany. That's a fact. And that's what I'm saying, guys. We need to start looking out and start watching and looking for the signs. I always do. If I look at, when I see kids out and about, I look at their situation. If they're acting a certain sort of way, if they're, I look at their hands, because kids know. They teach these kids this in school to show certain signs. Okay. All of that stuff. We need to do that, guys. We need to look. Sorry about that. Don't dive. We need to watch that situation. We need to look for the signs and be responsible and take accountability for it, guys. We can help these people. We can help these kids. Period. That's all I can say about that, Exactly. And God bless you, Vincent. That's amazing. That's it, Mojo. 100%. Absentee parents is a big problem. If you don't want to take care of a child, don't have one. That's all I can say. If you think that you can't take care of a child, don't have one. Don't have kids just so you can get more money. Don't have kids just because you want somebody to do your housework. Kids are, they're amazing, guys. And this is so disgusting to me. Oh, yeah. Kids, another bad area for kids from Ohio. Yeah, it is. Agreed. This is so sad.
Friending these children through social media, and these kids run away. They feel like they have nowhere else to go, and so they go to this person. And once they're there, they're often trapped. Not like physically trapped or held against their will, They just don't have the ability to leave.
Right. We're talking about kids here. They may be teenagers, but they not only have no resources, they don't have life experience and know what to do and how to get out and have any resources to help them do so. Finally, I would just like to have both of you comment on this. I'm really stuck on this number of 34 kids. I'm a mom myself. Have you, either of you, ever seen this many kids vanish from an area in 1 month?
No, I have not.
Chief, you go first.
I'm sorry. In my 33 years, no, I have not. This is an alarmingly high number. But again, I think it's really important that the public know that there's no panic, that there's no.
Okay, look. From January to April, 11. Okay? We go from 11 in 4 months, 11. Okay? In 1 month, 34. Something is going on, and they need to find it. Something happened. There's a ring that kicked up and went nuts in that 1 month. 11 in 4 months to 34 in 1 month. Are you serious? Wow. $45 kids in 5 months. I can't get past the 34 in 1 month. She's right. Don't smile. Who said don't smile? Or who said something? What? Absolutely right. Hey, you all are on the internet. I agree, Tiffany. Greyhound alerts and train trips. These police need to publicize this all over the damn place. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, Carolyn. I'm waiting to see what happens for June. The cop smiled. Yeah, he shouldn't have. I agree, Carolyn. It's June 5th, you guys. June 5th. I'm going to start checking once a week over the next 4 weeks to see the numbers that are going missing in this area. Just in the Cleveland area, okay? That's not to mention what's going on in the outskirts. Bedford Heights, Garfield Heights. The Akron area, another big city. There's cities all around the outskirts of Cleveland. Okay, something needs to happen. I don't care if we got to put together a group of people. Something needs to happen. This needs to be watched. Cleveland needs to pull their shit together, get the task force running like they used to have. They got it running on the drugs. We got to deal with this too, folks. This is a war that we're fighting. And they're using the drugs to do this. I am so sick. Good to see you, PW. I'm sorry I keep interrupting this, guys, but I got to keep speaking what I feel when I see this.
No one that's randomly abducting these children off of the streets. As Inspector Bolden said, these children are subject to prey and being preyed upon. But again, this enhances the emphasis that we want to put for parents to watch the social media of their children, watch who they're talking to, watch where they're going, follow some of the trends, because nobody wakes up in the morning and thinks they're going to be victimized. And so they really need to prepare well in advance. As parents, we have to do this to keep an eye on our children because we don't want them to become victimized.
Inspector?
Yeah, I can say there's no indication that there's anything organized about this, that these children are being kidnapped, that they're being abducted. The chief mentioned we see this uptick often.
You're kidding me, right? There's nothing showing that. Oh my God. They see this uptick often. 34 kids in a month. That happens often. Yeah, I'm going to go back and look for that too, because that just doesn't make sense. There was 11 kids in 4 months, which that I can say very possibly could be runaway. This guy's going to piss me off. I can feel it already.
It goes in cycles. We tend to have a lot more of these in the summer than we do in the winter months because the kids are in school. Summer, they want to be out on the street. They're more likely to run away. But this is an alarming number and much higher than I've seen in the years I've been doing this.
Yeah, it really is. And folks, everybody out there in our viewing audience, have a recent picture of your teenager. They change a lot very quickly when they're growing and going through adolescence, but if you have a picture of them, it'll help police and authorities find them faster. Chief John Majoy, Inspector Bill Bolden, thank you so much, both of you, for being here tonight.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So here's the thing, folks. This was, and when this first came out, okay, they dropped this. How about this? 27 children reported missing in Cleveland in 2 weeks. That's 14 days. 27 kids went missing in 14 days. The numbers changed, okay? The numbers changed. $27 in 14 days. This came out 3 days ago. That was before the other one we just watched. Watch this.
It's getting warm in Cleveland area. And, you know, kids are just kind of running wayward a little bit. And it is.
We'll have to play it through twice. It's built off of TikTok.
It's an alarming number that's drawing a lot of attention to law enforcement, but also our organization is Cleveland Missing.
Why so few photos of these kids?
Well, that seems unusual, and you know, my agency, we encountered that as well. And you know, some parents, they just don't have photos of their kids. Maybe they're foster kids. You know, maybe they don't have the technology. There's just a number of reasons why. But this makes it really hard for law enforcement because it's a lot harder to look for a name than it is a face.
24 plus kids vanishing in a matter of 2 weeks. What's the theory on what's happening here?
I don't think there's one exact theory that's a boilerplate that's going to fit this. Some of them could be runaways. You know, there's really no evidence of any abductions or reported abductions. But you really have to kind of draw attention to this because it is an alarming number. You know, being that it's springtime, you know, school is over, the weather's getting warm in Cleveland area, and you know, kids are just kind of.
They're still missing, CL. This is new. Okay, sorry about the echo, guys. Yeah, this is new. So yeah, they're still missing.
Running wayward a little bit, and it's an alarming number that's drawn a lot of attention to law enforcement, but also our organization is Cleveland Missing.
Why so few photos of these kids?
Well, that seems unusual, and you know, my agency, we encountered that as well. And you know, some parents, they just don't have photos of their kids. Maybe they're foster kids. You know, maybe they don't have the technology. There's just a number of reasons why. But this makes it really hard for law enforcement because it's a lot harder to look for a name than it is a face.
I can't. That's I don't even know what to say at this point. 2 weeks, 14 days, 27. Let me see here. And it keeps going up. So 2 weeks ago, it was 27. Okay. So then 7 more in the next 2 weeks happened. And God knows how many more there have. Do we need to find out, like, did one go missing today? Did 2 go missing today? Yesterday? Tomorrow? You know what I mean? No one is running away in Biden neighborhood makes you go, it goes for the other side too. I get it. I get it. I don't know of anybody. We get school pictures every year for these kids. We get them from so they could have a picture from last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. This year, well, who doesn't have a picture of their kids? I can't do it. I'm going to continue talking about this until this is fixed. Just so you guys know. This is insane. Okay, here's another part to it. Here. Holy shit. Okay, hold on, guys.
All right, look, man.
These are people and parents and like real people that are talking about this at this point.
If I ever need y'all, I need all y'all right now. If you watching this video, so this video can get shared all around, hit that like button for me. Share this on any social media platform you got. I don't care if it's TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Leave a comment. Just grow this video, bro, because this is crazy, man. And subscribe to the channel, bro. I got a phone call. A close friend of mine's daughter just was reported missing. In Cleveland, Ohio, in the span of 2 weeks, 30 children are missing, bro. And the police ain't doing nothing about it. They've been knowing this news is just hitting the city in like the last 2 days, right? But it hit close to home. The police been doing nothing about this, man. And we need to spread awareness to this, man. Whether these kids is dead or alive, they need to get found, bro. Cleveland is a sick city. It's already 50 murder rate. It's already terrible with crime. Now the children are missing. It's not one. It's not two. Every child, every child matters. It's not 5. It's not 10. This is 30 teenage kids, mostly girls, that's missing, bro. And the police are trying to say, some of them are probably runaways. What do you mean, man? Because my people, they thought they wasn't run away from home. Home good and everything, bro. En route to their friend house, they ain't never make it to their friend house right down the street, bro. Cleveland is a sick city where it's full of kidnappers, full of all that, bro. We had Ariel Castro who kidnapped 3 women in his crib and kept them there for years, bro. You got the 55th person. So we not about to keep letting the police downplay what's going on, bro. And it's crazy how we say defund the police.
All right, PW.
Shout out to my boy 1090 Jacobs. I hollered at 1090 Jacobs about this. Defund the police, but who gonna help find these kids? See, when it comes to the street, we gotta pick what we want, man. It's either we want the police around or we don't. Because for this situation, man, I don't see no street niggas doing nothing about it, bro. So what I'm about to do, I'm about to take matters in my own hands. I want everybody in Cleveland, Ohio, if you care, if this affected you, we gonna meet up this weekend, man. I don't care how much money I gotta put into it, how much money y'all gotta put into it. We gotta sacrifice, bro. Because our kids living here, bro. And 30 kids is outrageous, bro. So we gonna come together, we gonna find these kids. We gonna try. Like I said, whether they dead, whether they gone, I'm getting hit up by bigger pages now. I'm the voice of Cleveland. Like when it comes to the media, I'm the only Cleveland, Ohio born blogger on here, bro. Something gotta shake, man. We about to, it's just like, bro, how's y'all saying? I could see if it was 4 or 3 kids. Oh, they probably ran away. 30, bro, all different races, all different nationalities, 30. Not to mention the cartel presence been up here since a couple months ago heavy. Y'all been announcing how y'all been arresting little Sonola cartel members and all that. But y'all ain't gonna, bruh, it's so many vacant houses, abandoned buildings in Cleveland, bruh. When they tore down the Dawn apartments, man, do you know they found like 100 dead bodies in there from over the span of like 100 years when the Dawn apartments was born? Half of them was clubs, they didn't care. Threw them away, bruh. Think about all the abandoned, it's over. And I could just guess 250 abandoned buildings in Cleveland, bro. They just found my friend Anthony Mays in the ground. Somebody killed him and dug a hole and put him in the ground. We need to share this. We got to make something happen, man, because the police ain't caring about our kids. It seemed like they now just sharing this in Washington, and Washington posting about it, New York posting about it. We got to find these kids, man. Any dollar, any hand, any foot, any sweat, any tear, bro. We got to find them, man. Whether they in the ground, whether they in somebody's crib. we got to search these buildings, bro. I'm telling you, these buildings, bro. I'm telling y'all, man, we got to search these buildings, man. If anybody cares, you can follow me, King AK47 _. There's also a page, the Cleveland Remembrance page. I don't know who they is, but they big enough on Instagram where you can hit them up. Because we all going to come together, man. We're going to do something about this, man. This weekend, man. King AK47.
Yeah, I'm gonna get involved in that too, because this is sick. Something is not right with this. There's another one.
Right now,
and if you guys will support this, I do appreciate it. I know that you guys aren't from this area. Most of you, I don't know if anybody in here is from this area. I don't believe so, but if that's the case, you know, it's still supporting it, sharing out, whatever I do will help this in my opinion. We can get this out all over the place, guys. So if I do a live stream about this stuff, if you guys share this out, I would definitely greatly appreciate it so very much. Hold on a minute. I want you guys to hear this one too. This is insane. Thank you, Heather.
Search for two young boys who've been missing since the weekend. Good evening. I'm Maurice Dubois. The two friends, ages 13 and 11, have not been seen since early Saturday morning. CBS 2's Christy Kalishian spoke with their families.
Sorry, guys. That was the wrong one. I don't have my glasses on. Wow, Carolyn. That's insane. My apologies, folks. Let me back up. Here we go. This was the right one. Just a minute. I'm sure it did, Carolyn. That's horrible. I have a question, Dago. Where is Hunter's dad, Andrew, really going? Is he making another circus run? Or is he truly going to jail for the majority of the summer due to... No, that's what I've been told, Tiffany. I'm not 100% positive because I don't have facts on that, hun, but I have heard that, yes. 5 black men in a car, 2 little white girls. That's horrible, Carolyn. I'm so sorry. Not that I've seen, CL, not yet. I'm going to be digging and pushing this like you have no idea, guys. In between everything I'm doing, I may do extra live streams because of this, because this has me shook bad, folks. And I mean bad. This is too close to home for me. Even if it wasn't, this is horrible, okay? Absolutely, Miss Samantha. Thank you so much for joining us last night. Thank you for jumping in here tonight. I was a mean child. A man tried to take me from home. I got you, Sherry. True Lopez. It's your house. So any help that you guys can give when I do start whatever I do with this, sharing it out, whatever, I appreciate all of that, guys. I will continue doing what I've been doing normally, but I'm adding this to my roster because this is horrifying to me. I mean, deathly horrifying. Give me one moment, folks. I'll be right back. All right, I'm here. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing emergency streams about this because this is insanity. Hold on, folks.
Nobody wins when the family feels.
I ever need a job, I need all y'all right now. If you watching this video, so this video can get shared all around, hit that like button for me. Share this on any social media platform you got. I don't care if it's TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Leave a comment. Just grow this video, bro, because this is crazy, man. And subscribe to the channel, bro. I got a phone call. A close friend of mine.
Span in May. That's right, about 30
we already saw that
kids
part of it.
vanishing over a 2-week span last month. It's frightening. Between May 2nd and May 16th, 27 people under the age of 18 reported missing, according to the Cleveland police. And one local police chief hasn't seen anything like it before.
There's peaks and valleys when it comes to missing persons, but this year just seems to be like an extraordinary year. In my 33 years in law enforcement, this just seems like an unusually high number.
Whatever you can do,
Heights
Nancy,
Police
it needs
Chief
to happen
John
because it's going to
Majoy will
spread.
join us shortly. He also serves as the board president of the volunteer nonprofit Cleveland Missing, chairman of the Northeast Ohio Amber Alert Committee. He's dealing with these cases firsthand. One problem is that law enforcement isn't sure if these kids were trafficked, involved in gang activity, caught up in drugs. Doesn't help that Cleveland is one of the highest crime rates in the nation. The other problem is a lack of photos of many of these missing kids. If you look through Cleveland's missing persons page, you'll see many profiles with blurbs that say photo not available. These missing children's cases do not make the news unless they're Amber Alerts. Their stories and faces need to be shared.
Parents' worst nightmare when your child doesn't. Tonight, local mother pleading for you, the public, to help find her son. 19-year-old Demaria Thornton was reported missing Saturday.
Now, Toledo police are looking for whoever shot and killed 19-year-old Demaria Thornton. His body was found in a vacant central Toledo home days after he was reported missing.
Well, we now know that the family was the one who found him, and with the help of a Facebook tip.
Family, it's a couple videos I'm going to bring to you guys' attention on this Saturday. But this first video is more of an awareness video. It seems we got a huge problem that's going on in Ohio. I first was aware of this situation when a YouTuber was on my timeline that go by the name of King Act 47. He had dropped a video, and in the title, it stated how 30 teens was missing in the span of 2 weeks. And at the very beginning of his video, it stated how it hit home with him being from Ohio, and not to mention, one of the female teens who's missing is a daughter to a friend he called a brother. Now, as a dad alone, I felt compelled to speak on this situation and use my platform to try to shine some light on it. Now, I took it a step further. I used my Friday night to try to look into as many cases as I can to see if there's any update, to see if there's any parents that's reaching out. And I'm sure I couldn't comb through every detail, but we do got a couple cases that we did look into, and I want to bring to you guys' attention with an update. So before we uncover this one, remember, family, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to jump right to it. Now, the picture you guys are looking at on the screen are all once Ohio missing teens. Some return home safely, some are out still missing, and some unfortunately came to their demise. May they rest in peace. Now, less than a week ago, the Daily Mail had reported that We Will Find You, which was an operation by the U.S. Marshal, had located 225 missing children in an astonishing 10-week manhunt operation. Now, that was a great day for the U.S. Many teens throughout the U.S. have returned home to their families, but unfortunately, it's still a lot of missing teens out there in the U.S. And it seems these missing teens is happening at a rapid pace in Ohio. Now, as you heard in the intro, a lot of these missing teens don't have pictures next to their identity, which makes it tough for the public to identify these teens. Now, this way it gets scary. When the chief of police come out and say the following, this was things will start to get spooky for us as concerned citizens. The Cleveland police chief sounds the alarm after nearly 30 children are reported missing in 2 weeks. As he says, quote unquote, we don't know whether they are being trafficked, involved in gang activity, or drugs.
A matter of 2 weeks. What's the theory on what's happening here?
I don't think there's one exact theory that's a boilerplate that's going to fit this. Some of them could be runaways. There's really no evidence of any abductions or reported abductions, but you really have to kind of draw attention to this because it is an alarming number. Being that it's springtime, school is over, the weather's getting warm in Cleveland area, and kids are just kind of running wayward a little bit. And it's an alarming number that's drawn a lot of attention to law enforcement, but also our organization is Cleveland Missing.
Why so few photos of these kids?
Well, that seems unusual, and my agency, we encountered that as well. And some parents, they just don't have photos of their kids. Maybe they're foster kids. Maybe they don't have the technology. There's just a number of reasons why. But this makes it really hard for law enforcement.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. See, initially this started off with 30 in a month. It's brought it back down. 27 in 2 weeks is basically 30 in 2 weeks. Okay. This has happened in a 2-week period from May 2nd to 16th. 27 kids go missing. Now we're up to 34 for the month of May. That is absolute insanity. And like Molly just said, even if they're runaways, they're still in danger. Runaways are the biggest target for trafficking, folks. Especially if they see them on the street by themselves, it's over. I'm gonna have to do like emergency streams or something. I may even do one after this. I don't know. This is insane. Absolutely insane. This guy doesn't seem to, well, he's just, oh, well, maybe they're this and maybe they're that. Well, let's just put it this way, folks. If we got 27 kids in 14 days, let's just say it continues going like it's going. That's 54 in a month. Okay. I can't fathom this. My wife was talking to a friend of hers that lives in Georgia right now that it's heard about this. Okay. Who has family up here, and like everybody's freaking out about this. It needs to be put out more than it is. If this keeps going and it just keeps happening the way it's happening, that's over 100 kids in a couple months, folks. It is. It's a whole classroom share. You're absolutely correct. And like I said, it does seem like they're mostly minorities. It's a lot of males. This is just sick. All right, the South Dakota scenario, exactly. This is insane. This is insane. So I'm probably going to, when I shut this down, I'm probably going to kick up another one and just start talking. This is crazy. Thank you, Eve. Anybody that wants to be involved in helping with this, I'll greatly take upon any bit of help. Of course, I'm sure my moderators will help me any way they can. But we have to put it out, guys. We have to put it out. They're not, Vincent. That's the thing. That's the thing right there. That's a fact, and it makes me sick to my stomach. If they were blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids of people that have money, all hell would be breaking loose. They would have the FBI, the ATF, all law enforcement, the state police, all would be involved in this. And it's not like that. And that's what's sad. What's up, Rowdy? I know, Molly. I know. I'm working on it, Rowdy. I can't handle this. This is really eating me alive right now.
Enforcement, because it's a lot harder to look for a name than it is a face. And so having a face with the name is really, really important. And so this is why we encourage parents to have this current photographs of their children just in case.
And what are the parents telling you? I mean, are there parents that are concerned that these numbers are connected to one another?
I think that the parents are definitely concerned because of reporting them missing, but it also brings the question, how many are missing that aren't being reported.
Now, I wish I had the information to elaborate on all these cases, but unfortunately, I just don't.
are missing that aren't being reported.
Now, I wish I
reporting them missing, but it also brings the question. I think that the parents are definitely concerned because of reporting them missing, but it also brings the question, how many are missing that aren't being reported.
Now, I wish I had the information to elaborate on all these cases, but unfortunately, I just don't. But I will take the time to elaborate on one.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Tiffany. I don't think so, but at this point, who knows?
But in this case, this kid was found a couple days later. But unfortunately, in a case that's still unsolved, deceased in the abandoned property after the family had an anonymous user on Facebook write them, "We found him, he's gone." On April 17th, 2023, a Toledo, Ohio family had pleas for help and find a missing teen. That teen was later identified as 19-year-old Demaria Thornton. The family grew concerned. The aunt had quoted to the news, "It's not like him to not call anybody back. He hasn't called his mom back. He hasn't called my mom back. It's not like him." She also quoted, "I saw statuses where kids were laughing on Facebook. It's funny to them, but as a mother, there's nothing funny about it."
Parents' worst nightmare when your child doesn't. Tonight, local mother pleading for you, the public, to help find her son. 19-year-old Demaria Thornton was reported missing Saturday. 13 ABC's Alexis Means talking with families' loved ones about this teen's disappearance. She's standing by live.
Here's the thing, Molly. I'm signed up for local and national Amber Alerts for the Center for Missing Children. You guys know that. You guys know that I advocate for missing kids. I do cases about missing kids. I have not. And I live very close to Cleveland, okay? I live very close to Cleveland. I did not receive one Amber Alert in the month of May. Not one. For anywhere. Local or national. So I'm guessing that no, they're not being put out. And why is that? Why is that, Molly? Answer that question for me. This is what's got me hot, okay?
Lee, the family is distraught and very upset, and they're leaning on their faith, hoping that he comes home safe.
I like him. It's not like him to not call anybody back. He hasn't called his mom back. He hasn't called my mom back. It's not like him. My nephew went wherever he wanted to. He has that.
You see here pictured was last seen Thursday in the St. Louis Street area. If you have any information about her whereabouts, you're asked to call 911.
As you can see on the news clip, it's getting so real in Ohio. When they talk about one teen, they use the time at the end to talk about another teen that's missing. Now, 5 days later, on April 19th, 2023, the missing 19-year-old body was found in a vacant Central Toledo home. Now, Thornton's mom had told police on Sunday that it's unusual that she haven't heard from him for a day. Thornton's stepbrother had begun requesting information through his Facebook page, and when an unknown user sent the message, "We found him. He's gone."
Now, Toledo police are looking for whoever shot and killed 19-year-old Demaria Thornton. His body was found in a vacant Central Toledo
report for Demaria Thornton. The 19-year-old stepbrother had begun requesting information throughout his Facebook page at Crime Stoppers at 419-255-11.
Rest in peace to the victim and love and condolences to his family. But family, anybody in Ohio who need a platform to elaborate on someone they know that's missing, have more information so we can spread awareness, let's make it a priority to know that you guys can reach out to me. I do want to say I feel sorry for the families who's missing these teens. No matter what's going on, we send in prayers and love you guys' way. Fam, that was the story of 30 teenagers been missing in just Cleveland, Ohio alone in the span of 2 weeks. And not to mention, Ohio alone is having this crisis. That was the story of a young man as well, who was a teenager who lost his life after being missing for days and having somebody on Facebook having the nerve to text the family, "We found him. He's gone." Not to mention the aunt saying it was teenagers online prior to getting that message on status laughing. It's crazy. Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then,
I absolutely agree, Samantha. 100%. It starts with the parenting. I'm sorry. It does. Okay. But at this point, I'm not going after parents. I'm not talking about parents. I just don't even know what to say. Unbelievable. And this is not something that's new, folks. 2 years ago, there was 45 missing children recovered during the largest statewide anti-human trafficking operation in Ohio. That was 2 years ago. It's still happening, obviously. And the police can say that that's not what it was. Bullshit. I'm sorry. I call bullshit. I don't even want to think that way, Carolyn. Like I said, I'm going to have to do probably a live stream just to put this out. That way it can be shared out to other things. You know what I mean? Good Lord. $27 kids in 14 days. I can't get past that, guys. What's up, Teo? Teo. Like I said, I'm probably going to go live here in a few minutes after I end this one. And I'm going to put one out just for a short period of time, talk about it. And then I just want anybody that can see it or whatever to share it. That's all. I can't get past that number, guys. I can't. It's so disheartening. Thank you, Heather. Does anybody have any questions, comments, theories, anything about anything that we talked about tonight? You know, even before this. If not, like I said, I'm going to probably bring this down. I'm going to set up another one and go live. And that's what I'm worried about, Vincent. That's why I want to put this out ASAP and start spreading the word along with everybody else. People are using TikTok and Facebook. YouTube is a bigger platform. So if I can put something out on YouTube, then I will do that too. And tag, have people jump in and see it. I'm trying to figure out how I can title it to draw people. Thank you, Heather, so much. And thank you for anybody that may have donated to support the channel via PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. I am so very much appreciative of that because that is what keeps me coming to you every day, folks. And just so you guys know, hopefully everything I'll be getting better by tomorrow or feeling better. If you guys don't see me tonight, which some of you probably may, I will be here tomorrow, hopefully. Fingers crossed, everything's healthy. Between 12 and 12:30 to carry on where we left off today. Okay? Once again, guys, I love you guys to death. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Again, my apologies for the way the stream went. All right, Heather, I appreciate you, sis. I know you'd be there. I knew you'd be there. God bless you guys. And I love you guys to death. Thank you for supporting the channel like you do. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being here this afternoon. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. And hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow around noon. Have a great night, folks. Much love. See you soon. Bye-bye.